2018 GSL Season 1 Code S Daybreak.
What's up, everybody? It's day 2 of the round of 4. We already had a kick-ass day 1 with Stats versus Sue. Now we have a TVZ, Dark versus Maru.
Yeah, Stats versus Sue was like beyond my expectations going to Game 7 and all that, and
a comeback story as well.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. So Sue won't be in the finals. I'm sure that both players on this side of the bracket are sad about that.
Yeah.
But look, both the players on this side of the bracket haven't actually made a GSL finals yet, so this is just going to be a great finals no matter what.
That's right. Stats, in some sense, an incumbent GSL champion, is now going to try to defend that position against one of these two players. Both Dark and Maru, very storied StarCraft 2 players. It's odd to say that they have not won a GSL Code S yet, because many times we're referring to them as being the very best in the world at their respective race, but that's how competitive a tournament like this is.
Yeah, it is kind of weird when you think of it like that, right? Because they've won some tournaments, and definitely high-end, good tournaments, but like GSL is kind of the place where you measure yourself, right? So it's weird that they don't have it yet, and I'm excited for one of them to have that shot finally, whoever it is, to get that championship.
Started out with 32 of the best players in the world. We're down to 3. One's in the finals at Stats. Now we have to clear up this match, a best of 7 with Dark and Maru. This should be, I actually think this will also go to Game 7.
Yeah, I think you're probably
the bare
right
minimum
about
Game
that.
6, but this should not be one-sided. Dark is known to occasionally do super aggro plays, but generally speaking, he's most celebrated for being one of the best late game Zergs. And at times in StarCraft 2 history, the best late game Zerg. I guess he's maybe a little bit outclassed by Rogue, but that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah.
Dark is a monster. And then you have Maru, who's one of the best all-around Terrans, but great with aggression. He knows when to do, especially these decisive drops into the main to try to end the game. He's good at clearing creep on the map. We're going to go to an interview now with the two players and get their thoughts before we get our match started.
선수가 일주일 만에 GSL 4강으로 다시 만났습니다. 이 흥미진진한 대결을 앞두고 있는 박명우 선수와 조성주 선수 바로 만나보겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
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 So there's, oh, well, hold on. They're going to say hello to each
두
other.
분이 이렇게 빨리 다시 만나게 됐습니다. 먼저 조성주 선수 우승 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
네.
So you guys have just now met again in 6 days. Congratulations, Maru, by the way. Put your hands together for Maru.
우승하시는 모습 잘 봤습니다. 얼마 만에 우승이었죠?
So I saw you in 200K just recently in China.
우승하시고 이 일주일 어떤 한 주 보내셨나요?
That's right. It's been one of my first championships in 3 years. So how have you been since winning that?
바로 연습에 임했다.
I've been exhausted lately. I took a short break from StarCraft, and now I'm back.
보여주셨던 그 올인 빌드 전진 병영을 2연속으로 성공시키면서 우승컵을 들어올렸던 모습이 강렬하게 인상이 남는 것 같습니다.
So I saw in match 6 and match 7,
주변의 반응은 어땠나요?
you did some very bold builds.
대단하다고들 하는데 그냥 운이 좋았던 것 같아요.
그렇군요. 여전히 그 전진 병영 빌드 여전히 좋은 카드로 유효하다.
I had some great achievements, and I feel like I was a little bit lucky. Do you think the proxy barracks strategy is still a possibility tonight?
같은 빌드 최대 몇 번?
He says that might be a card up my sleeve. So how many times have you used that build in a match?
쓸수 있는 거네요.
I think maybe 3 times I pulled that out. If I have a long series, I'll try that. But I actually lost that series. So, and moments like that, I try not to use it. I try to use it only very periodically.
자, 그렇다면 박명우 선수. 박명우 선수는 어떠한 주 보내셨어요?
So Dark, over to you. How have you been? And how's your week? So after the finals I just played in,
네.
I was trying to erase that memory, but now that you're bringing it up, it's frustrating to think about. Losing a match is worth $200,000. At the same time, that makes me eager to prove myself and remove my stress
돈 싸움에선 졌지만 실력적으로는
and
내가
kind of
지지
ride this roller coaster to the finals.
He said he went to Lotte World and
Oh, he
rode
said
the
he went
roller
to Lotte
coasters.
World? Excuse me.
좀 억울하다 이런 느낌이 오거든요.
아니 뭐 오늘도 전진병영만 막으면
So
이긴다는
winning is not just about my
생각으로
performance, it was also about his deceptive play.
아, 내가 이런 것만 안 당하면 내가 질 수가 없다.
네네.
그렇군요.
So I think as long as I can defend
오늘은
things
또
like
어떤
proxy
양상이
barracks, which
나올지
cost me that
저희가
series, I
한번
should be fine this time
지켜보겠습니다.
around.
아, 복수의 기회가 정말 빨리 왔습니다. 일주일 만에 이 7전제를 준비하시면서 참 힘드셨을 것 같은데 박영우 선수 특히 생각할 게 정말 많았을
So
것 같아요.
this is your chance to get revenge here on Maru.
사실 이렇게 좀
What's going through your mind right now?
잡혀가지고 잡혔을 때는 몰랐거든요.
네.
막상
I didn't realize with a schedule arrangement like this,
네.
after losing to Maru in the finals,
오늘 경기에서
I wasn't exactly excited to be facing off against him again this soon.
어쨌든
But
오늘
I would like to get my revenge.
만들어서
So there's that.
이걸 회복을 하겠다 말씀을 하시네요. 자, 조성주 선수도 반짝이 과정이 쉽지는 않으셨겠죠. 연습 과정 어떠셨어요?
병렬이 형이
So Maru, how
잘
was your preparation
도와줘가지고
for tonight's matches?
쉬웠던 것 같아요.
So Rogue helped me a lot.
오늘 쓸 빌드나
It should be
선택에
pretty
대한
easy
도움이
prep,
주셨나 봐요.
or it should be pretty easy for me. With some people
전담만
like him helping me.
수준으로 도와주시더라고요.
So Rogue helped you a lot,
오늘
yeah.
어떤 결과가 나올지 기대가 됩니다. 자, 이렇게 중요한 길목에서 다시 만난 두 선수 오늘 웃을 수
Yeah,
있는
Rogue's
선수는
helping me
정말
know how to
기대가
focus,
되는데요.
especially in late game.
마지막으로 서로에게 한 마디씩 들어보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 먼저 박영우
So we're going to
선수.
find out momentarily who's going to win this. Before we have anything, do
선수는
you
이제
have anything to say to each other before we
욕심이
start? Darky
없어졌을 것
first.
같아요. 워낙 큰
I
대회를
think
좀
Maru,
겪었기 때문에
After winning that big
GSL은
tournament,
좀 양보하자.
I'm hoping that his motivation is decreased after winning a tournament like that. So now it's my turn.
이렇게 이야기하시네요.
Over to you, Maru. What do you have to say?
저도 결승을 못 가봐가지고 양보 못 해드릴 것 같아요.
네. 나도
Yeah, I
GSL
never really make it to the finals in the GSL.
GSL에서
So
4강
I
진출수가
can't stop now. I have to keep going.
과연 이번 GSL 첫 번째 결승 진출에 성공할 선수는 누구일지 지금부터
All right, that does it for our interview. We're going to have a short video, then we'll get this going, guys.
마지막 생존자 최후에는 테란 조성주 선수예요. 빛을 어둠으로 덮어버리는 데 성공했습니다. Live from 3Cup Studio in Seoul, this is the GSL.
Okay, we're about to get this best of 7 started. Already we had an epic series on the other side of the bracket in the round of 4. And as we were saying earlier, Artosis, I think this should be quite close. It should be a back and forth series.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a good chance of that. But, you know, if you look at the WESG finals, things have changed since then. There's no longer early drops.
True.
That wasn't a big part of Dark's games there. Like, in fact, I remember one of the games, Catalyst, he lost, you know, trying to pull something like that off. He had already taken damage, but
Right.
I'm just saying. So I don't know how much that's really going to affect this, but also let's not forget that Maru, when he starts getting behind, he just likes to proxy racks. We've seen this actually already this season in GSL. He's getting wrecked TVT, just proxy racks twice. Was
Right.
it Keen he was against, I want to say? I could have read it. It was just there, but I didn't. But yeah, seriously, he did that twice against Dark, who was ahead of him in WSG.
The better you get, the more success you have. And therefore more data, more games are out there, which means people can then study the way you play and try to counter that. And I think that's something we've seen here with Maru that might be an issue. He does seem to be a bit predictable in the strategic shift when he starts to get behind.
Yeah, I mean, he digs the double proxy racks, but of course, that alone does make his opponents kind of play safe, look for that, you know, scout it out. Dark, on the other hand, from WESG, he was not doing any real, like, speed first builds, no pool first builds. He was going hatch first basically all the time.
Right.
Which is a little bit different for him as well. He's kind of known as a guy who is willing to get an early speed and kind of mix it up like that. Will we see him mix that back in here tonight because of all the proxy racks of Maru? I'm really not sure. I don't know how they're gonna go up with this one.
This should be interesting, especially game 1 and 2, just seeing what openers Dark and Maru show. By the way, the record here on both sides in Dark's graphic as well as Maru's, and we just saw how dominant
Crazy.
they've actually been.
Well, they were in the finals of WESG, and here they are. And I mean, they both did well in Katowice. These two are monsters. They have been forever, and neither of them have a GSL title, so it's a big moment.
So we're going to start the series off on the map Black-Pink, and from there we go to Neon Violet Square. Now, maybe, I don't know, I'm throwing this out here. Maybe Maru wants to do proxies at the start.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Something
thing,
that would just be so unexpected.
Absolutely agree.
You know, again, in a best of 7, guys, there's so many opportunities for your opponent to try to pick up on your play style and how you're approaching it that you're constantly trying to counteract that. Anyways, let's go. This is game 1.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Dark.
I like the idea, though, of just opening with the proxy racks, as that you said.
Yeah, I want to throw it out there.
Instead of using it when you're behind, just use it right at the beginning.
When nothing means anything, because you're right at the start.
But it, you know,
Jin Air Greenway.
the map that we're on is Black-Pink, and I like Black-Pink. It's a good map, but I feel like the games are slightly predictable. It's like everyone goes Lingbane Hydra here, and every Terran hits like a 2-ish siege tank timing attack with Marines to kill the 4th, because either 4th base you take, you can attack downhill into it, and it's just kind of a nice, easy way to set it up.
If you have a base in a gully, it's a lot easier to try to pounce on than if it's tucked away on high ground.
So the thing is, I think Dark is obviously aware of this. Maybe he has something special up his sleeve to fix it. And in fact, he's not getting gas, so that's something.
Yeah, let's see how long this goes for.
This could point towards a roach attack. Sometimes you skip your gas for a little bit. Normally you get the earlier gas so you can get Zergling speed out, but if you're planning on doing something very roach-based, oftentimes you slow that down a bit. One of our great artists here at GSL.
So I want to just emphasize again, these guys just played a major series for 200 grand. So a lot of this is still a reaction from a previous series that happened just about a week ago. So
yeah.
This is a very unique situation. Oh, for your birthday. Happy birthday.
Whoa! Birthday in the house.
This is a good way to spend your birthday.
Absolutely.
Still early in the day, too.
I'll be doing that on my birthday. Stern Super Tournament again.
That's right.
Same exact
Your
dates as last
birthday
year.
and then Christmas. We're always working down here.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, we did that one Christmas cast, and my wife was like, guess what you're never doing again? Working on Christmas.
Yeah.
It's like, but GSL.
So the Reaper's coming up now, driving back some of these Lings.
Good micro on Dark side.
Yeah, Dark really not losing anything yet, which is pretty impressive. It's okay to lose Lings, but if you can manage to action control it perfectly enough that you don't lose anything, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, sick play. Still no gases, so this is about the latest that we've ever really seen. Well, I don't want to say we have ever seen, but this is super, super late on gases from Dark, which really points towards not Zergling base but Roach base type of play. You get a way more minerals like this, right? So he can make more drones, he can make more queens, but he is going to need something. You can't just be on slow Lings here. Look at that, 10 drones being made. There's a nice little trap there for any Reapers trying to come up. There you go. Double gas, triple gas, quadruple gas on the way.
So this is a pretty cool tempo-wise for economy, how Dark's approached this. And there's that Roach Warren that you were talking about, Artosis. And this is, I mean, to make it just as obvious as possible, he wanted to get as many minerals as possible. Okay. Oh, wow, they were on hold position, so this actually gets away. I can't believe Maru went back up there.
He wanted to throw the grenade because they're in hold position.
That was pretty ambitious.
I'll take the extra damage, sure.
So he wanted to get as many minerals as possible and get gas at the bare minimum late as possible. But this means he's going to have a pretty strong macro engine behind him. Now there's Hellions and the Reaper coming up here. The Reaper goes down, so do 2 more Hellions. The remaining 2 now going towards the main. And we see drones splitting. So far, Dark actually splitting very well.
Yeah.
If these are taken out and they don't get too many more kills, then this attack did not even pay for itself, which means it is a failure.
Yeah, Maru wasn't really sure of exactly what was going on. He didn't get a scout of it being super late gases.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, he has some intel on that, but throwing up these 4 Hellions and getting a grand total of 3 drones, I believe, and a few Lings and some lost mining time, I think that's totally fine for Dark, especially considering how many extra drones he got early on, how big his mineral lead got, or his mineral count, rather. Right.
Well, I think a lot of times when you rush into their main like that, you're really looking for some kind of important tech. When you get there and discover it's just drones, and that he got so many that if you kill those 3, it's basically inconsequential for the Zerg.
Yeah.
So Maru, I don't want to say a huge disadvantage, but definitely an uncomfortable spot, one that he'll have to navigate himself out of very carefully. Assuming that he can. Right now, we have Zerg continuing to power up, getting additional drones. In fact, right now it's Dark at 57 drones, with a few more coming. That's going to put him up to 60. Tomorrow's 45 SCVs, even factoring in mules right now. Dark's looking pretty healthy. The Liberator comes in, and it looks like already Dark is basically ready. In fact, he even had it set up so that Queen ate a Liberator shot, and then could be microed out. So right now, everything that Maru's throwing at Dark is bouncing off of him.
Dark, now Maru's playing fine. He's playing well. There's nothing wrong with the way Maru's playing, but I'm looking at the way that Dark is playing this game so far, and I'm completely impressed.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he has gone for the very late gases. He's gone into 4 gases, right? He made the Roach Horn at the front with 2 Evos for a wall. He hasn't used the Evos until just this moment, which I found a little bit weird, that part. But the fact that he's going directly into a Spire. So he's trying to utilize, the thing is, again, what is the strategy that we always see on this map? The 4th base gets attacked by Marines and Siege Tanks. It's a super strong push, and Hydraling Bane players never can seem to hold that 4th against someone like Maru. But here, going Roaches with speed, that gives him a little bit more tankiness, and obviously Siege Tank type play, you don't really like that much against Mutalisks. So I'm excited about this strategy that he's pulling out.
So Maru now coming out with the 2 medevacs. Now this is, generally speaking, both Maru and Innovation, this is one of their strongest points in the game, is when they can come out here, stim, and try to pick up and leave. And let's see, with the targeting here on the hatchery, I actually don't think that the Roaches can get over here in time. Yep, picks it off. And I believe only loses 1 to 2 Marines there. So from here, he will probably rotate around towards more of the center and begin trying to take out creep tumors. And this is the moment where the Terran is trying to control the pace at which Zerg grows.
And he should be coming back with another fully gathered push to that 4th base with the Siege Tanks. That's probably something that we're going to see from him after he picks off some of these tumors, like you were saying. Missile turret's on the way right now as an anti-Mutalisk precaution. Seems like he caught wind of what was going on with that.
So the Mutas headed over here, not towards, not towards those medevacs. And this will draw some of the army back, although I feel like these Mutas not really going to do a lot of damage. As now Dark is actually powering up with a lot more Roaches. We just saw about 15 more hatch there.
Yeah, that's a serious amount of Roaches, and in fact, this is starting to make me think of like a slightly older strategy that we did see for a little bit, where you'd get some Roach upgrades, and then you would just like max out and try to kill them at their 3rd base. Because you can just match so quickly with a unit comp like this.
I think you're correct. I think he's going to power up with nothing but Roaches. And anything he can get, like softening up the tanks, anything, and also forcing these Marines to stim and chase them around. Out of nowhere, Dark is going to try to blindside this low ground base. Now, I don't think it's going to be that easy. We'll have to see how the corrosive biles connect with the tanks. But keeping some of these Marines over here, whoa, Dark miscontrolling that.
Units are out of position. Look how much of his supply is over here on the right. The Roach is going to come in now. There are some siege tanks. There's a Liberator setting up, but definitely plenty of Corrosive Biles to get rid of that one. Walks in, does nail it down, and it's a strong attack. I don't think Maru's going to die, though, with 4 siege tanks.
Yeah, I feel like the angle here is a little bit impossible for Zerg to breach, but let's find out. He's picking up the tanks. The problem is that these buildings act as cover, and there's no shortage of tanks for Maru to scoot up and try to pressure this. And now Dark with a nearly maxed out supply of these units. He's got to figure out something he can do with this.
Forcing everything back with those Biles, but that's about that. Like, Maru has held on very strongly. He's continuing to make siege tanks. Second factory going to be finishing. And here's the real problem. Dark's 2-2, it's late, right? He's switching into melee, which is totally fine. That's actually very normal from Roach openings, so you can go into Ultras a bit later. You can get your Zerglings and Banelings more powerful, but the 2-2 of Maru is going to finish up, and that's going to be a 2 upgrade advantage for a long time, and you better believe Maru's going to attack during that period.
So, very Maru-esque. The moment that that attack was halted at his third base, he picked up and is now dropping all over the map. And this is forcing a lot of this Roach-Ravager combination to come back and try to defend, which keeps Maru safe. Maru's basically set up a good position back at home, and now he's actually stimming forward, trying to get as many of these drones as possible.
Yeah, some really quality harassment going on right now.
Oh, wow.
A little bit hemming and hawing there. The Queens do pick up one of the medevacs.
Yeah, almost losing the second medevac as well.
Yeah. Okay, so 2-2 finishing, +1 weapons for siege tanks finishing up here as well. Some Marauders being added in with that concussive shell. Baneling speed is going to finish up, though, as well as the +1 melee. So, I mean, that's some pretty quality stuff, but having a good amount of siege tanks in there and Marauders, it might be hard to get the right connections for Dark. The one cool thing, though, about the way he's played this, and of course the game is in a very different position than if he had gone for a standard Ling Hydra Bane that might have lost the 4th. He didn't lose the 4th, right? Like, there was a forced cancel early, but he remade it pretty quickly. He's taken a 5th. His creep spread's pretty good. So, thanks for that add in, Tasis.
That's my play-by-play for that.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of some cool things about what he's done here.
Yeah. Maru now with a push coming out, I think Dark's going to have to rely on the counterattacks that we're seeing here now. And this is sort of a role reversal from when we saw the drops that Maru was trying to do over to Dark. Now, I don't believe that Maru has anything actually to defend, but realistically, besides these small clumps of Marines. And Maru's not turning around, so this is actually really bad here for Maru.
Yeah.
The fact that these Roaches are going to get into the main, and I'm sure Dark is happy to sack this position, but if Dark cannot stop this push, it's going to go from north to south on his side of the map. He may end up losing this in a base trade because these Roaches are not going to destroy this base anywhere near as fast as the push from Maru is. The problem for Maru is that he's no longer going to be mining. So Banelings and Corrosive Biles used to zone are going to be key for Dark to close this one out.
Yeah, he's going to have to hold here. He's lost 2 of his expansions there, and well, I mean, using the high ground, using his creep and the Biles, this is doing pretty well so far.
Yeah.
And he's having Ultralisks made. He's making some Vipers. These are all, like, really helpful for holding this push. In fact, Maru turns around.
Dark actually using a technique that's one of the oldest StarCraft tricks against Terran is you make them siege up, and then you run back. And it's like we're seeing just there, right? And it slows him down. And then when he unsieges, you try to jump on him again, and they siege up, and then you run back away.
Yeah.
And this is allowing Dark to enhance his position here. And look at that. It's actually stuck in there. So he has to kill his own Roach Warren.
It's a tight wall.
But I think that the follow-up blow from Dark could end this game.
Yeah,
I think Maru overestimated his ability to wipe out Dark here. And Dark is, I think, too big to fail.
Well, this army is going to be really serious with the Ultras coming in. He's getting that +2 melee, just about finished, and the chitinous plating as well. But there are ghosts being added in. That's really the only tech to speak of here from Maru. But that's pretty good. Like, if he does get his ghosts to actually connect on the Ultras, he can clean things up.
So Maru right now with a very small amount of positioning on the map here, low on workers as well, is going to try to abuse the fact that the medevacs can keep picking up. He's going to drop up at the top. I think we're just going to get a shot of that now. There it is. And then there's obviously that larger drop at the bottom. And he's hoping to outposition him. But there's a chance actually that Dark gives up a base and just attacks it again. Okay, he does not. We see the army coming around here. And I think once again in the nick of time, he's going to get this hatchery.
Oh my God. Not only is he going to get that, he's going to get the other one, I think. Maybe not. Ultralisks take a while to die. I guess I
Yeah.
bought him a lot of time. There was that Ultralist there. Definitely that could have been his situation. But that was a really good tactical move from Maru. It didn't work out as he had planned, but definitely he's making the moves he needs to make to win this game.
So Dark's in also a bit of an odd spot. The bases he wants to take are very far out. And this is always a problem that Zerg face, is that the more they expand, the more droppable and harassable they are. And Maru's really exploiting that. Maru was almost knocked out of this game when Dark did the counterattack and Maru's push was denied. But using those drops, he's actually leveraged himself into a spot where Dark had to play on the defense, and therefore Maru was not going to be attacked. So Maru is sort of stabilized. In fact, he's getting almost caught up in supply to where Dark is. Dark is basically maxed out.
Yeah, and his worker count is looking fine. He's got his 4 bases up and running. Of course, he's going to have to expand again pretty soon here, as he's going to be running out of minerals at 3 of them. But the army that Dark is making is pretty awesome. Like, he's just continually getting more upgrades and adding in these corruptors as well. I love that type of play from Dark. Like, even though we don't see Mass Liberator yet, there's going to have to be eventually to help deal with these Ultras, and he's already ready with this, having those Vipers and Corruptors.
Okay, Dark's basically reclaimed control of the map. We have Maru going to expand up here to the top. Now, this is pretty important because Maru is going to run out of minerals here. He has this base right here, the center right. I believe the base that's in that low ground area should be almost depleted. And interestingly enough, Dark actually going to go for a counterattack over here rather than try to attack this area up here. So the upper left point's becoming a big area of tension, as no one's going to be able to easily expand up there. But this counterattack is huge.
This is gigantic. He's going to kill a command star that was almost done and a planetary. What's he going to do? Lose 2 bases? That's fine. He has another base, like a new...
Whoa!
A new 5th, a new 6th down at the bottom as well. Dark is just playing an awesome game here.
Okay, so Dark now is going to be able to cut off the main from reinforcing. As long as Dark can hold off this push up here in the top left of the map, and I think with this many Banelings easily he can, then he should be able to survive this game.
The Ghost's starting to gain some real value here, fending off the rest of that counterattack, but Maru doesn't really have a big economy at all.
Right.
He's making another command center up at the north about 12 o'clock. That needs to finish. He needs to keep that alive as well because his minerals are just about dried up.
So right now, as you were saying, that's the only base that Maru has. In the bottom, Dark has this base. Oh, good, we're getting a shot of it right now. That's getting close to being used up. And then there's the bottom center base that Dark has. Now, for Maru to drop the bottom center, that'll be a pretty tall order. But for Dark to come up here and possibly break this position that Maru has in the north, which I think at this point in time is probably the most important location on the map, if we could give our attention to, that'll come up to his tactics and whether or not he can try to outposition Maru.
Yeah, this is a great first game, I gotta say. Like, action-packed. It isn't even just mass Ravens going at it. But just the way that Dark has been like, okay, well, I'll just expand everywhere in all directions and do counterattacks. And it's like every time Maru has moved out, he's killed 2 bases. But
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Well, in some sense, Dark is expanding so much that he's willing to give up some of these bases.
Yeah.
He's saying there's no way you'll get all of these in time, especially if I'm expanding in opposite locations on the map. I'm sorry, is he taking a hatchery in the bottom right, or is that a clump of something?
That's a clump of
That's
something.
an army. Okay, excuse me. Now, Maru's pushing out. Is Dark going to rely on a counterattack here, or is Dark going to try to swallow up the army whole? There's Lings going in 2... Corruptors coming up here, and then Lings attacking over here. And I think there's nothing that Maru has. And once again, Dark going to sack an expansion here. This is one way to do it, Artosis.
I love it. I love it. Great usage right there. Dark has re-expanded to the north, but it's actually not finished yet. So even though Maru's taken a lot of... Well, I shouldn't even say even though, because that is a ton of damage. But Dark does not have as robust economy as he had previously after every 2 bases was killed. These bottom 2 bases were actually pretty important for him.
I don't know if Maru can recover from this. Even though Dark is barely hanging on economically, Maru his whole base is in shambles. Oh, you know what? Actually, he's going to get that hatchery up faster than I thought. Well, we'll see if Maru can try to push up there. Maru does have the option to not try to expand and defend right away, but instead try to just do another push, wipe out dark space, and then go back and do a slow game from there.
I would love to see how many workers have been lost this game. I feel like 100 SCVs have been killed easily.
Yeah, I'd say at least 100.
It's been pretty wild so far. A couple liberation zones going up. He needs to keep some of these bases actually mining for a bit. Every time you don't see Maru there or at 12 o'clock mining, he's not really mining. All right, a big attack from Maru here. Siege tanks plus liberators mixed in, a bunch of ghosts in the back. And he should be able to connect a whole bunch of these snipes. Here we go.
Coming in. The Ultra is still able to push us pretty far back. When the Overseer is able to see these ghosts, the Ghost by far the most expensive thing he can't afford to lose. Link's going to come in here for a block.
Oh, man, the Ultra's so low on health, he's just unable to get that extra damage down. Another hatchery killed off here by Maru, though.
Oh, pops one Ultra. Especially in a game like this, every one of those Ultras is so precious. So Maru, no longer able to expand to that top center location, is going to again expand to the center right. And these infestors, by the way, also incredibly important here for Dark.
Yes.
Any fungals, any spells he can get off at all.
Yeah, the economy is getting so messed up this game. Like, spells are really valuable.
Generally speaking, in late game situations like this, spells get you a lot farther along than trying to trade them with your army. If you can, like, do any damage, fungal something and kill it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, and let's not forget that you interrupt the steady shot of the Ghost, the snipe ability. So fungal is really important here. Watch this now. Fungling the Ghost is going to be so important. Actually, he loses the flanking infestor there. A huge moment there from Maru.
Yeah,
is he going to break through?
I think Maru might have just done it there. The fact that those infestors were killed off, I don't see the Ultras or any more that are here. I think actually Maru managed to pull this off in the last few minutes of this game. He's going to take out this base and the one above it. I don't see enough of anything that's beefy that will allow Dark to sustain a fight. I think actually, I think this is the end.
Wow.
Wow, this has been a crazy game, especially considering that Dark was playing so well. Hold on, Bailey's coming up though.
Oh,
good splitting.
Hold on, he really does need to hold on here.
There it is, GG.
Yeah.
That is so crazy because Dark was, I would say, like 10 to 20% ahead through a lot of that series.
Yeah.
And with the last push, he came out and I think specifically when he got those Ultras and softened them up with the snipes, and then the next attack where he gunned down the two infestors, only one fungal was set off, and that hit medevacs and not ghosts.
Yeah.
That's all he had to do.
You're right. This was just a crazy game. I think that Dark brought like a very cool and creative and new way to play against Maru here that we didn't really see at WESG. But Maru was still able to kind of go with the flow and adapt and overcome it. These two are perfectly matched to fight for our enjoyment.
Oh, for sure.
These are like my favorite two gladiators in ancient Rome. At the end of this, when it's like game 7, Maru looks up to me and I put thumbs down. He sends out 2 SCVs and proxy racks and kills Dark.
We're going to go to Neon Violet Square for map number 2. Dark definitely looking a little bit tilted after that. He already lost tomorrow, just a week ago. A tournament worth life-changing amounts of money.
Yeah.
And now he's here again. Dark may end up having his spot in the final stolen from Maru if he can't come up with something now. Again, right now, Maru up with a 1-0 lead in this best of 7. We now enter game number 2.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Dark.
Well, that's not a hatch first.
No. It's not a hatch first all, and that's not after an Overlord either. That's aggressive.
Jin-Air Green Wings.
Artosis, that's a building in the middle of the map.
Oh, yeah. You're right about that.
Barracks?
Yeah, double proxy barracks coming up.
But this is pull first.
Yeah, it's not just pool first either. It's before the Overlord. So this is like 12 pool material here, right? This is super duper fast. I mean, I like the position for a Zerg player here. Let's see how they actually end up pulling it off.
A lot of this will also come down to whether or not the Overlord is going to see this for sure.
And the barracks should not be able to see, right?
No, no, he'll be able to turn it around.
Yeah.
Let's see how quickly he responds.
Boop.
Oh.
Not sure if
I
Maru
think
saw
Maru
that, but
probably saw that. You got to be thinking that you're looking for when the Overlord comes.
well, either way, Zergling's running around the map right now. I wonder if maybe he'll just send a couple up to the main base and then just kind of wait for speed and hold on against this.
Keep in mind that Maru was in the dark as to the build. The dark was, no pun intended, the dark was using.
He's getting in on the dark immediately here, but
Yeah.
the dark is surrounding him.
So this is an incredibly awkward spot now for the Terran because the barracks are in the middle of the map. You don't really have much to defend at home. In fact, you don't really have anything until it can travel there.
He's still mining a lot of gas, by the way.
One barracks will always check the Zerg to see what they're up to, while the other one will go back home to produce units and make add-ons. But Dark is actually going to go for a quick game-ending move here. He's getting Baneling's Nest. He's massing up Zerglings. He knows that there's a ton of fragility at the entrance of the Terran's base. And with Ling Speed done, he can eat up all the Marines in the middle of the map, set up Banelings, bust this down, and we might have this tied up 1-1.
Yeah, it's really looking that way right now. Oh my God, look at this. He's getting on top of those Marines. SCVs came out to fight.
He needs to get that depot up. Maybe not. Maybe he has enough Lings. It doesn't, or SCVs, excuse me, it doesn't matter. Here comes some more. He's on top of the depot, so he can't raise it.
Oh, man.
One Ling on hold position there to make sure.
Hide the SCVs in the bunker, quick. I think he's in a lot of trouble here, Tasteless. Couple Banes, one on top of the depot.
Oh, man. And you know these SCVs, they have to kill those Banelings before the Banelings are going to hatch.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
One Hellion out.
Wow.
And this, I think, is going to be it. Baneling's coming forward now.
Maru trying so hard right now to stay alive. It is not going to happen.
He has 4 SCVs right now.
Oh, man. Look at those Banelings. They're like, well, we don't even want to detonate here.
He's like, maybe I should send these on top of the Hellions.
He can stop morphing Banelings at this point. I think the Zerglings are actually better. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Look at this micro. It's crazy.
This is actually a testament to how good Maru is that this game is still going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
If his wall could have ever gone up, he
oh,
might
I
have
know.
disabled
This game might have gone on. So that does it. Game 2 goes to Dark GG.
Well, Maru uses the double proxy racks in Game 2. That's one of the better macro maps for Dark, so I'm not surprised that's where he chose it. I think Maru has planned this series brilliantly, but so has Dark.
I agree.
Again, that's one of the maps where Dark was able to really slam Maru at WESG because it kind of favors his type of play. So many bases right there. His economy gets so huge, and just the fact that he opens with like the cheesiest, earliest thing he can possibly do, and it just straight up counters the double proxy racks. I love it, man. What a great series already.
That was phenomenal. I do love Game 1 as well. It was really exciting to see that it was such a nail biter from start to finish, and that Maru really can leverage that position. Will we see more double barracks?
Oh, I don't think so, actually.
Not in the whole series?
It's done. I think it's done.
Okay.
Like, Maru definitely can and does mix it in a lot.
Will we see more quick pool like that?
Yes.
You think so?
I think that we will see at least another couple quick pulls. It's just, it seems like with Dark. Now, 12 pool, maybe not, but like pool first, I wouldn't be surprised if he brings that back a little bit more. Like, when I saw the pool at first, I was like, oh, is he just going pool first to make sure he can't get just killed by a double proxy racks? But that was like the very cheesy version. So
yeah.
I don't know if we'll see that one again.
What a great series so far. I do think we're going to go to Game 7.
You do?
I do.
Well, we're tied up 1-1, so it's a best of 5 from here.
That's right. We start over at this point.
We get closer and closer.
Wow, man. You've seen Maru. Oh, nope, we're out of time. We're going to take a short break. We come back. We'll go to Game 3 with Maru versus Dark.
Justify the reasons why you stay here. If we're both wasting our time. Once another lover.
Live from 3 Cup Studio in Seoul, this is the GSL.
Welcome back. That was too long. We're going to go into game number 3 now. Dark versus Maru. Right now it's tied up 1-1. We had one really intense, long, drawn-out macro game where it looked like Dark was winning through most of it. But in the last maybe 4 or 5 minutes, Maru managed to push through and actually close it out, wiping up the last 2 bases that Dark had. In game number 2, we had a proxy barracks, which has sort of been a theme with Maru as of late in a lot of his major series. Normally, he can close with a win in that, and he usually does it when he's behind. He brought it out there, and it was shut down with a quick pool opening from Dark.
I liked where he placed it in the series on a very hard map, and also after he was up 1-0. So it was kind of like, well, I can play a long, drawn-out macro game that I'll probably lose here, or I can try to just get a quick, cheap victory. But Dark outthought him and really crushed him with that very fast pull and speed.
This is something that's so cool. You can almost only see it in StarCraft, where on these certain maps, there's definitely a right way to play, but you can try to play around the fact that it's the right way to play. But then if you know your opponent's that smart, then you can try to hard counter that. And there's all these mind games that are going on before the game has even started as far as what builds they're electing to do. So the game number 2, very special like that in that regard. I don't know how many more games they're going to have like that, as they were both trying to out-mind game each other there.
Yeah. Well, these two know each other so well and have played a lot recently, so I think mind games just have to be a part of this, and we've already seen a lot of changes in strategies, even Dark's opening in game 1. So I don't know what we'll see next. Odyssey is going to be our next map. That was not in WESG, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So, you know, there's something a little bit fresh here. Could see between them.
Yeah, for sure. Again, these guys just had a major match at WESG for an insane amount of money.
It was like 200K first place.
Yeah.
What was second place, like 80 or something?
I actually want to say 60, but you might be right. 80.
It was in
either
that
way, that's so
ballpark.
much money, it's crazy. And so Dark wants to get his revenge here. There's a lot of emotions going on. And the fact that neither of these guys have actually become a GSL Code S champion. GSL, the oldest esports show in English, still going on today. It is the sought-after prize of any StarCraft 2 player to become a champion of this tournament. And neither of them have achieved that yet. And only one is going to get the chance to try to fight a former GSL Code S champion Stats in the finals.
Yeah, and here's a big part of this as well. I think Dark looks at this. He just lost to Maru in such a big money match at WESG. But looking here, this is almost for the GSL Championship for Dark, I think, in his own mind probably. I would definitely favor him against Stats in that finals. 100% I would favor him against Stats, the type of Zerg that he plays. So, you know, like Maru might hold him back from 2 big tournament wins in a row.
All right, let's do this. Game 3 is ready. Dark versus Maru on Odyssey.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Dark. Jin Air Green Wings, Maru.
Right.
Okay, so Maru in the main now, getting his barracks and his refinery. It is a pool before hatchery here for Dark.
Okay, but not a one before Overlord, so it's not
not
crazy.
Not super fast.
Yeah, fast enough that if it is proxy barracks, he's going to have a bit of an easier time against it.
From the Netherlands. Thanks for coming down, guys.
I wonder if they skated here on their frozen waterways.
From Mexico. Famos Dark support here.
Did you see that? Did you see that clip of the American news thing?
Oh, I've just been informed that those that they've just received giveaways. I think you guys got shirts for the events.
Something
So
like
congratulations.
that. Yeah.
So I'm they're telling me that in the production room. I guess that's to make the other people that are in the studio feel bad. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But, so this is going to be a great series. By the way, it's actually kind of packed in the studio here. Big turnout here.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well,
I feel like a lot of that's for Maru. Do you feel like there's more Maru fans overseas? See, I'm hearing Maru cheers in the studio right now.
yeah, I mean, I think Maru is slightly more popular, but I think that if you are a Zerg player, Dark is kind of your god.
Oh, yeah.
And should be. He's like the most creative Zerg out there and top level forever. Now, those Lings just ran by the SCV, so
Right.
this is a bit sneaky, but it looks like it's a 2-1-1 opener by Maru, so he's definitely going to have a lot of production, and he left his Reaper at home. So that's a big deal as well. Oh, see, he found him. He found the Lings.
Spotted him.
So this
You know, this map especially, there's a lot of ways to outmaneuver the Reaper and try to hide and ambush, especially with the bush areas on the map. So the Reaper actually doing a decent amount of damage, now shaving off a couple Lings.
Yeah, Dark's sneaky little move didn't work. Best wife ever. That guy's your best wife ever?
Guys, thanks so much for coming down.
Excellent. GSL, the show that will keep couples together. Weren't we talking about that on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Where if you watch StarCraft with your loved one, it's guaranteed to work out and be a happy relationship. But of course, if GSL ever gets canceled,
Yeah, then this is over. This is.
you better get divorced immediately. If I can't be happy, you can't be happy.
Then no one can.
Yeah.
So we got Stim coming up here. Things a little bit slower. Start things off compared to game 2. This was odd. Okay, what was the story with that
Oh, do you know what?
Overlord there?
Maybe he thought there would only be like one Marine and he could poke in to see
like
if there
he's
was
just
like
gonna be
aliens on the
teching up?
way. Like, yeah, if there's like very few Marines, but that was actually a reasonable scout to see that many Marines early on really screams that it's going to be a double medevac stim timing, right? So I'd say that's still useful to a degree.
So I would say Maru, he might be the best or the second best at this build specifically. Innovation, I feel like I've watched a lot of games where he just ends up winning a couple minutes after this because he's picked a couple fights.
Yeah, Beyond,
on the
Beyond
creep.
as well is just ludicrous at this build.
Yeah, Beyond too. I feel like when I think of Beyond, I think more of Reapers and
Oh,
kind
certainly,
of
yeah.
winning absurd fights where he's got like 1 or 2 Marauders against a bunch of Lings, but he keeps juggling them. But this play that we see coming out, so these medevacs are going to move out. By the way, spotted immediately there by
sees
Dark.
it perfectly.
And what Terran wants to do is drop just on the edges of the creep, stim and attack in, and as Zerg tries to drive that back, you shave off as many of the units as possible. The moment that you're going to lose the fight, you pick up and you relocate. And I don't think it's going to happen this time around, but we have seen some Terrans get so good at this over the past year or two here, where they just snowball the game. It's really tough because Zerg is hemorrhaging units. And you have to have a really good mental calculus and know how to exploit positions like we just saw him doing there to actually get the army unloaded. And you can see now Dark's like, oh crap, I got to get up here and send my queens as well.
Yeah, the Queens will help him to push this back. Like, I don't expect him to take too much damage, but hey, these Queens are not spending their mana where they really want to. His crew spread is not being pushed quite as much as it could, maybe missing an inject here and there. He just killed a tumor. This isn't costing Maru too much.
Honestly, this is not going very... We want to have done a lot more damage in this. I think Maru actually spent too much time trying to get in the main there. Creep tumors are getting... Well, I spoke too soon. Okay, this is something that he needed to do. So he cleans that up, but overall, Dark pretty solid defense, basically losing the bare minimum.
The double medevac's coming over. Where is that third medevac? Where did that one go? Okay, here
There it is.
Yeah, and he's got a mine in here as well. So this might be the big push that he just kind of was trying to not to overcommit so he could nail this one. With that mine, there's a lot of potential here.
Okay, going for the queens here. Whoa, nice targeting. And if this Widowmine hits these legs, beautifully done. Oh, man.
Wow, that
Okay.
pullback from Maru was exactly at the right moment to abuse that mine.
The targeting is real. Wow, that was so impressive. And he knew the exact moment to pick up and get out. 34 Lings and 3 queens.
The hold was still pretty decent considering how good that Widowmine hit was. You gotta say he hit his transfuses and everything. Had banked up a lot of energy on those queens. Still some more harassment here, but with all those Queenslings and Banes, he can't really get too much done.
So, you can see Dark beginning to edge out here and take the gold base. Now, Maru is expanding behind this. Zerg's always usually one base ahead. That's the way it's generally supposed to look, at least for this phase of the game here. But it seems like Maru wants to try to contest this location. If he can force a cancel, that would be great. I don't think he will with this. Well, hold on. There's a lot more reinforcements coming, so maybe he will. So he probably wants to come in here and try to hit the Banelings that we can see here and just keep stutter stepping away. Oh, he's so good. He even left one Marine to try to get a Baneling go off.
You know, Baneling's speed is on the way, Hydra's as well, so this is not going to work forever. This is when Maru needs to try to keep this pressure up right now, and he's doing a pretty good job of it, but it looks like we might have a little counterattack on the third base coming up from Dark, who's sending a lot of links to the north.
Okay, the siege tank is in a very important position here. Now, I think this is just going to be canceled.
Yeah.
So, Dark actually going to sack that position. He's not even going to try to put up a fight. But this Ling Adder attack that you were talking about, Artosis, this is pretty important. A lot of these SCVs are going to be taken out. Seems like Maru does have enough to try to come over here and defend, but still losing a decent amount of Marines here in the process as well.
Another setup by Maru. He's cleared a ton of active creep tumors over here. In fact, grabs another one right there. A Siege Tank on the high ground. Looks like he's going to have to pick up, though. Ooh, the Siege Tank actually targeting down ridiculous amounts of Banes.
Crazy Siege Tank location. I don't feel like we actually see Siege Tanks put exactly over in that little nook there as often. And I'm getting worried that this actually might snowball. It's just Zerglings and Queens.
Yeah.
And that's generally not enough, especially when the Marines are clumped such as they are right now.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's Banelings that are about to enter. He's going for the Queens.
This is pretty crazy. The counterattack is happening once again, but that's not enough right now. Maru is really doing such a good job over here.
Dude.
I tell you what, he brought 2 forms of splash damage into this game so far. The Widowmine, that got a ridiculously good Baneling hit that he dodged with his Marines, and then that Siege Tank that killed by itself. I don't know how many Banelings. I have to go back and watch, but it was a lot of Banelings.
I think that this is going to be the knockout blow.
Yeah.
Look at this. Right when they basically run out of energy, he picks up, says, okay, hold on, and Act 2, go. So, he's going to come in now. I think Dark will have to tap out, unless he gets a lot of Banelings that we just don't see on the screen here. These Hydras will not be able to hold on. GG. Maru takes game 2.
Jeez, Maru's playing well.
The rabies tearing.
Yeah. Pretty darn impressive play that we're seeing out of Maru here today, I got to say.
I mean, well, it was just, that was so impressive.
Yeah.
That was just his finesse, and I like what you were pointing out, Artie, about the Widowmine as well as the tanks put in the right position.
Yeah.
How many volleys did that tank get off on the high ground? I think it was 3 or 4.
I think it got 4. It got 3 off on important targets in the army.
Banelings, yeah.
Like literally, he was like attacking up. The Zerglings were trying to surround the Marines. And then the Siege Tank got a shot on some Banes, and then the Banes tried to roll near the tank but not explode on him.
Yeah.
And then he like brought 4 Banes back to go after the Marines right before the tank died. And I saw the retarget, and he nailed all 4 Banes, and it was like, oh my god, like this Siege Tank has done enough that it like snowballed to the point where the Marines could do way more damage.
You're completely correct. I think that was the tipping point in that game.
Yeah.
And that's where Maru, the moment that you have any weakness, Maru is so fast to rush in there and clean you out.
Just showcasing his ridiculous skills here, his multitasking, his micro, his macro. This guy is a monster of a Terran.
Okay.
If you can't win with Terran, play more like him.
We're going to game 4 on Abyssal Reef. Right now, Maru up in 2-1.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Dark. Jin Air Green Wings, Maru.
So Abyssal Reef, good map to be playing on here. Definitely a Lingbane Hydra map
For sure.
most Zergs. Will we see a massive Siege Tank push from Maru? We could see Mech as well. We haven't seen Mech from him yet today, but He's extremely good at mech as well. He's one of these Terrans that absolutely does both.
That last game has me worried for Dark. That looked really scary, that push from Maru.
It did.
And just the fact that it was honestly on both sides pretty normal builds. And the fact that Dark has won his only game, at least so far in this best of 7, with, in some ways, hard countering. Oh, thanks for coming down, guys. I just barely saw this.
So GG Tasteless, GG Nate.
Thanks for coming down, dudes.
GG or something like that.
I was busy staring through Artos's doe eyes, so I didn't quite catch that on camera. I'm worried that because Dark actually got taken out in Game 2 with a build that was sort of like that, I don't know if we're going to see him win a game that's a more standard ZBT, you know, with the back and forth, with the tug-of-war fight in the map, and then eventually Zerg overwhelms the Terran.
Well, it's the same build out of Maru this game.
Yeah.
To point this out, right? It looks like he does want to go for the double medvac stim timing or 2-on-1. I mean, he did so well with it last game, and Dark wasn't able to hold it, so I don't mind him trying it out again. But I felt like Dark was on the brink of holding it, you know? Like, he had a lot of queens. He got a pretty quick carapace upgrade, which definitely can help. It didn't work out, but it could have.
Sure.
You know?
I guess you really have to watch. Oh! Jump! Okay. This is an annoying moment here. The Reaper is basically stopping the drone from expanding. And this is really awkward for Dark because he then has to make an extractor. And until that Reaper can be driven away, this is basically going to go on forever.
You know, I feel like I see a GIF of this on Reddit every single week. The little dance of a drone making extractors over and a Reaper trying to screw everything up.
This is the myth of Sisyphus drone.
Yeah.
Gets close to becoming the full extractor only to cancel and start over again.
Yeah, and a queen walked all the way over there to try to help its drone out.
I'm worried there's enough bad things happening at the start of this game. Okay, I thought he was going to lose that overlord.
Yeah, that
I was going to say, there's enough bad things happening in the first few minutes that sometimes this can be an indicator of how the rest of the game is going to look. So Zergling speed's almost done. 5 more drones coming now.
I want to see exactly how many Marines he has right now. Does he just have 5 right now? I guess we're not going to see. Oh, well. Because he shot at that Overlord of 2. I think that's all he had anyways. But I just wonder, because remember last game, it was almost like a little bit of a tell when the Overlord flew in and he killed it with 5-6 Marines.
Yeah.
And that was a peculiar number for that point in time. Okay, these lings get in and see that kind of similar amount of Marines. So I think that this is pretty easy for Dark to put this together, what's going on. He has an Evolution Chamber on the way probably for that Carapace upgrade once again. Making a single queen, but a lot of times we see people defend this with many, many queens plus their speedlings. See if that's where he wants to go.
For now, Maru just banking up. We really do have to see how the first couple of engagements go. I'm still intrigued by, in Game 3, the fact that he tried to stay in the main for so long, which I thought initially was a mistake. But then when we saw the reinforcements come, it actually worked out so well because of the positioning he ended up getting. So I'm curious to see if there's any tactics like that for when Maru pushes out to try to get the Zerg out of position. Because really the early part of a Terran versus Zerg is always the Terran trying to put pressure and slow the Zerg down, and the Zerg just trying to outgrow the Terran, and ideally shut down the attack so hard that the Zerg only gets further ahead. A good Zerg player can never be left alone on the map.
Yeah.
They constantly have to be pressured and attacked.
Well, he is going out to do that right now, as you say it. Flying these double medevacs over. Looks like a nicely placed Spore there. Woo, good counterattack, actually forcing a cancel on that third command center. It's going to be built on the high ground instead. Good defense so far from Dark. Wow, he really wanted that Marine. That Marine would have died.
Sometimes one of the things you want to watch for when this is happening is the hit points on the medevacs.
Yeah.
Because the Queens generally are there to target the medevacs, while the Lings are there to try to put pressure on the Marines to get back into the medevacs. But if you have medevacs on low energy, you sometimes have to stop harassing, because otherwise the Queens just gun down the medevac with all the Marines in it and you lose the game. Yeah, but Maru says he's still confident moving out.
It's a lot of Lings, the Queens coming down as well. Great way to do it. You can't really kite that well against the Zerglings when you do have the Queens targeting your medevacs, especially when they're already yellow like this.
By the way, no creep tumors have actually been shot down yet. Okay, so I think this is going to be similar to the other push, except last time we had a Widowmine in there. This time he's going to come in from the top, and I believe it's again another maneuver where he loops back around, so all the queens are there. See on the left, but at the top.
He has a siege tank this time.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so
Siege tank instead of Widowmine.
yeah. Still, he does have some splash damage, so we'll see how he utilizes that. Maybe put it on the low ground here.
You know, that being said, the creeps actually pushed pretty far out at the top here.
Yeah, it is. Some very good vision here for Dark. He has a ton of queens as well. Baneling speed is on the way. A few banelings being made as well. Tank siege is
Oh
up.
my God, 1-1 is about to finish.
Oh, look at that targeting on the banelings. Just so good.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It was so close to killing all the Marines.
Yeah. Well,
But he actually gets away.
he held that very well.
Yeah, well, yeah, not only did he not suffer that much, he got one of the medevacs, he took out the tank. I mean, realistically, these Marines shouldn't be able to do much of anything.
No,
as
no.
long as Dark is, you know, just attentive in his base.
I think it's, you know, the harassment is really getting kind of close to over. Like, he's still flying around, sure, trying to get things, but the Hydralisk upgrades are on the way. The creep spread is actually really, really nice right now. He's taking that 4th base as well. Tons of queens, still with tons of energy. This feels to me like it's going to go into a long game, and Maru's probably going to have to add a 2nd factory to just hit a huge siege tank push.
I think you're probably right. You know, aggression like this from Maru, it is a double-edged sword. If you start to lose everything when you're doing this, you're actually the person that's getting yourself behind.
Yeah. Well, he's spreading out his Marines a little bit, still trying to get something done here. It's mostly creep tumors, though, that he will end up getting. Look at that. Literally, we see Dark queue up while the Marines are still gunning extra creep tumors, because he's like, no, you're just lifting up. This isn't happening. Like,
Yeah.
I know what you're doing here. You're getting like 2 tumors, and I'm going to replace them down.
Okay, we have enough medevacs out now. He might be able to try to put some pressure on. There's 2 medevacs headed just north of this position here. And I believe it's 1 medevac full of Marines that's on the far right that might try to attack first. Let's get a shot of this. Okay, sorry, that's 2 over there. So he's going to get attention here, draw Maru's screen over here. And I was actually expecting for Maru to maybe try to attack it at the bottom left. And so he is going to come in here. Now, the targeting on the banelings is what's most important here.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick up mostly, I think. Oh,
No, he's fine. He's Maru.
Yeah.
Never miss clicks. It's so funny because one misclick in a fight like that and you lose your army.
Yeah, the whole thing. So, yeah, Maru just finished up his 2nd factory, but Dark is starting his hive. So, like, this is kind of the tension when we see macro bio builds up against Lingbane Hydra.
Hold up. This is huge.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Is it, though?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It is. Okay. It could have been a little bit better. It could have been a little bit better for Dark, but Dark had actually right-clicked down the rocks there.
Was that... Oh, I think that was like a Marine that had died from a Baneling that flew across the screen right there. That was a very weird graphic as
Yeah.
we moved. But, okay, so this is kind of the tension that we see right now, right? Is the Lingbane Hydra player trying to get up into Hive, and the thing is you can go into Ultra, you can go into Broodlord, you can go into Viper. All those can work against what he's up against, but what Maru needs to do is hit a massive siege tank push. He needs to kind of utilize the terrain, especially on this map, to force back the Lingbane Hydra, because his bio alone just will not be able to fight against this.
Now, I do want to point out, I think, first he's going to have to survive the onslaught of Dark here. There's more Banelings coming up.
You think Dark is going to pull the trigger and actually attack?
I think he is.
I don't think that's a good idea.
You don't think he might try to go for this top base up here? This is now being taken?
At this point, all I want to see from Dark is pushing his creep spread and getting his hive units.
Okay.
That is the only thing in the whole world. I think if he attacks in, that might give Maru a decent counterattack. He might do a lot of damage, but also Maru pre-sieged with his buildings in the way. I find that to be the most dangerous thing.
So you think that Dark should only have this army here for defense?
Well, it's okay for him to walk around like this, but
like
don't do any
pokes like this
full.
are fine, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, don't do any full engages. Like Maru is trying to make the army that kills exactly this army. What he needs is his hive units. We see a Viper on the way. We see the Ultralisk Cavern, more upgrades as well for Dark, and his creep spread is magnificent. So like, let Maru do his siege tank push. Have him come over and see, like, does he step on creep? Okay, attack. Does he move too slow? Okay, you have hive units.
Now, it should be noted as well is that he set up a counterattack here that I don't believe Maru's aware of. Now, these Marines take out these banelings, but just in the far, far left, I think we were going to get a shot of it. There is a...
Is that Lings or?
I think it's Lings and Banes.
Okay. Oh, like maybe bust down the wall and run
Yeah,
in.
I think he's going to try to run in the main
That's a
with
good
that.
move. I like it.
Now, considering that the creep spread from Dark is so good, this is going to be very difficult for Maru to push through.
Yeah, well, this game, if Maru is to win this game has to go on another 20 minutes, I think, easy. Oh,
Okay, now this seems like a poorly timed move that didn't really pay for itself. I'm assuming Maru's just going to clog that back up with another depot.
Yeah, he might just be trying to buy a little bit of time. He really needs some of these upgrades to finish up. Just kind of poking in. Yeah, none of these attacks can really work, but he might also be trying to clear up a little bit of his supply, fit some ultras in here.
Sure.
And he actually starts Aspire just now, but the fact that Maru is sitting tight, this is an interesting thing, because he got a lot of siege tanks, and a lot of times you try to push. I think he correctly read the situation that a siege tank push actually would not work, and by losing his siege tanks preemptively in a push, the counterattacks of Dark might kill him. But if he just sits here like this, he can get into everything. And this is Abyssal Reef. Like, there's 2 bases he hasn't taken that are 2 of the easiest bases to take, right? Those 2 bases you see on Maru's side that he hasn't taken, that we always see people take, those are, think of Neon Violet Square in the back pocket base. That's what those are, right?
I love the way you're saying this. Yeah, what Maru's doing is he's taking the bases that are a lot harder to secure early on and leaving the bases that are easy for him to take for when the game should actually be much tougher. Great denial there by Dark.
Yeah, and Maru, I think, doesn't care too much about that, to be honest. Like, both these guys have to lose a little bit of their supply. They're playing with mid-game armies right now. Big chunks of their armies are mid-game armies. And you need to keep some of that stuff, but you can't keep too much. Because, like, for instance, on Maru's side, we need to see all these ghosts be made. We already do see those ghosts. Yes, he still needs some bio. Probably he's going to need to go into Ravens at some point. Some Ravens. And you
Look
know,
at that, Artosis.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, Dark is getting a lot bigger. Bottom left and upper right. Now, I don't know if Dark can actually hold that upper right base. That seems like possibly the most ambitious expansion to try to take right now.
Yeah.
But let's see, because if he takes it, Dark has to, Maru has to push it.
Well, okay, so, he's making Ravens tasteless.
I know you love that. He's also getting a nuke, actually.
Yeah.
So we're getting into super late game. A lot of times the Terran will nuke sort of the no man's land area between. The Zergons of teching to a lot of slower units. Okay,
Maru's become one of the best players with this type of late game army. Normally I give that to straight up to TY, but Maru's really kind of mastered
Oh my
a lot
gosh,
of
he's
it.
going to get the planetary and the SCVs. Okay,
Some of the SCVs.
just barely. Yeah,
Oh, he gets that other command too.
Yeah, nicely done. You know, this is one way that Dark can do it. He's got so many resources coming in his direction. Why not just detonate on the command center? And by the way, Maru's going to try to expand up there again. He has backup command centers. He got these command centers at Costco. Look at this. How many command centers does he have?
He bought a 24-pack
Yeah.
command centers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He
That's
brought
a
it home in
lot.
his SUV.
That's right.
So he could use all that savings on gasoline.
I know.
Oh my God.
So many command centers.
That's so
I
funny.
almost want to take back the idea of using banelings to detonate on that command center.
It's good usage of mineral.
Okay, here we go. Now, this is going to be hard to break here. The banelings coming in. Viper's actually being gunned down. We need to be able to zoom out more in StarCraft 2. There's too much happening here.
Yeah, some great spell casting going on here from Dark. Also, did get a couple connections on some of these ghosts, but truthfully, the ghosts are doing their
Whoa,
job.
Hydra almost takes out the camera guy.
Ooh, Maru holds on to everything. Dark obviously does remax immediately here. His economy is just ludicrous.
Dude, do you see how many banelings he's making? 30.
Well, that's quite a few banelings.
He's going in for attack number 2. So, if you guys look at the minerals and the gas at the bottom of the screen, keep in mind that Maru just made 30 banelings, but he had a lot of minerals and gas banked up. and he's going to have a lot more after this next attack too. So he's basically dumping all of his resources, attacking in, remaking, attacking in, and Maru has to try to hold up these attacks or he's going to get eliminated.
Oh man, the ghosts are actually the really key important units here.
They're in the corner!
Yeah, he goes ahead and cloaks, but unfortunately for him, an Overseer coming right in. Oh boy.
Oh my god. The ghosts, some of them are still alive here.
Yeah, again, a few snipes off. Does bring in some Liberators also. Oh man.
Okay, so this is a bit awkward because when you look at the mini-map, there's a base in the upper right that is an outpost. Again, Dark does need to be careful to not overextend too much here. Now, Dark is, again, remaking his army. 42 Lings, 6 Corruptors, 2 Ultras.
You know, this is a crazy game, and whether it's brilliance or madness, Maru taking those 2 bases, because otherwise this game, right, he would have those other 2 bases in the, like, the 2 that we've been talking about, the kind of pocket expansions that are free and easy. And if he took those, then it's like, can he ever get these other bases? But while he still has a big economy, he's battling for these. It might not pay off, though.
Okay,
Dark is making some moves. Look at that. Banelings and stuff killed 2 command centers right there.
GG,
Wow.
Dark does it in the macro game. Closes it out in about 18 minutes.
2-2.
Wow.
I'm loving it, man. This is an insane series between these 2. Really cool the way that Maru tried to play that, realizing that any tank timing wasn't going to work. He tried to expand to the heart to take bases first. Unfortunately, they are hard to take for a reason, and Dark was able to attack in once he got his full tech tree up and everything he felt like he needed.
Really impressive late game attacks there from Dark. I mean, you could see that he knew exactly where to connect all the Banelings, how to hit.
Yeah.
In 3 consecutive late game attacks, he crushed through to the point where the Terran was pushed all the way back to the natural. The only base that was actually remaining was this isolated command center in the top right, which we know eventually Dark is going to take that out too. But it was cool to see him expand out like that.
Yeah.
Kind of an unorthodox pattern, so that you have easy expansions, assuming the game goes longer than the one that we saw there. You have easy bases to secure later on.
The fact that we're still finding new interesting patterns of expanding on Abyssal Reef just again points out that the fact that it might be the best map we've ever had.
I think it's StarCraft 2. It's a safe statement to say. Abyssal Reef has always produced good games, and we're still learning about it. It's really cool.
I know that you're partial to the map with the bridge on the bottom. What was
the one where you can put the Archon?
Yeah,
at
the
bottom?
Archon.
Yeah.
Right? I know that that's your favorite map, and you think that's the best map ever made.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone agrees with you.
Well, that's
but
fine. We are going to go to a short break. We come back. Game number 5, Maru versus Dark.
Left your party at sundown. You were nowhere to be found. Sip my bottle, heading uptown. Ooh, long way home, the back roads. No hands on the handle. Blew the red light like a candle. The wind undid my hair like it knew you weren't there. Boys like you never play fair. Don't play fair. I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. City has no secrets. I know all the shortcuts. Now I'm lost looking for your touch. Used to be your night shift. Can't work out, I might just fly down here until the sun lifts. Found an empty street, sing myself a melody about how it used to be. Wind undid my hair like it knew you weren't there. Boys like you never play fair. I'm on a midnight bike ride. There's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we
there's something about his manners.
He didn't walk up with that, how you doing?
When he came in,
He said there's a lot of girls I can do it.
oh, but I can't wait that
I'm doing forever in a minute.
that summer night.
And Papa says he got my love in him. He got me feeling like, ooh, I knew it when I met him.
I loved him when I left him.
Got me feeling like, ooh, and then I had to tell him I had to go. Oh, na, 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 na.
Havana, ooh, na, na. Half of my heart is in Havana, ooh, na, na. He took me back to East Atlanta, na, na, na. Oh, but my heart is in Havana. My heart is in Havana, Havana, ooh, na, na.
We just graduated fresh on campus, oh. He's fresh out East Atlanta with no manners, yeah. Bump on a bumper like a traffic jam. I was quick to pay that girl like Uncle Sam. Ooh, I knew it when I met him.
I loved him when I left him.
Got me feeling like, ooh, and then I had to tell him I had to go. Oh, na, 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 na.
Havana,
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. (2018) GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak.
oh, it's Saturday night. I pray for the wicked on the weekend. Mama, can I get another amen?
Welcome back. We're tied up 2-2 right now. This essentially leads us to having a best of 3 to decide who's going to win this.
Before the last commercial break, we were going to best of 5. Now we're going to best of 3.
Yeah, it's an even fight so far. Dark closing that out with a dominating late game performance. Maru with an unorthodox expansion pattern. Appears to have overextended. Dark mustered the resources necessary to smash through in 3 consecutive big late game attacks.
Yeah.
To the point where Maru was in shambles. He had no army, he had no expansions, and had to leave the game.
I tell you, these two, it's like they were born to play against each other. Wow, we have some excited people in the crowd today.
Yeah, lots of people down here. Love you guys. This is so great. This has been such an awesome series.
Yeah.
It is starting to rival the series of Sue versus Stats, which I did not think was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Sometimes you have a great best of 7 like that in one side of the semis, and you go, oh, man, it's going to be really hard to top this. So far, so good.
yeah. But generally,
happy.
this points towards a crappy finals. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. Sometimes when we have the
When we
best
have a great
semifinals,
semis, yeah.
we don't have a great finals. So we're going to go to Ascension to IR for Game 5. Again, this is very important because whoever wins this is then 1 win away from moving on to the finals. So let's see what happens.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak.
Woo, music's giving me chills.
Dark.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having just so much fun watching these two clash. It's crazy. Like WSG, I thought that was pretty good, but this is even better.
Jin Air Green Wings.
This is-
Maru.
Sorry, WSG, I'll let you finish, but GSL has the greatest Maru vs. Stark match of all time.
Yeah, I think so.
Like, already these games, I'm so tickled by. Of course, I don't know. Just think we can watch them play against each other over and over again for years to come, because they both always get near the top of tournaments. Now that Dark is over getting eliminated in the round of 16 every time.
Yeah, he's gotten past that point. So, I was touching on this briefly before the game started, but it actually loaded up a little bit quicker than I expected. So,
Whoa.
it's very
Hello
important.
from Australia. Best honeymoon ever.
Oh, we love you guys.
Where's
That's a
Day9?
lot.
He's probably at his house. But
He's
welcome.
looking for his car right now.
This is the best honeymoon you could ever possibly have, I think.
By the way, Australia, that's a long flight. We had a tournament we did in Sydney a couple of years back, and oh, hold on, we got another sign here. Oh,
What's his fingers over? What's he trying to hide? He messed up. I want to know his mistakes.
so we had this event in Sydney a while back, and I'm one of those guys that look at a map and I'm like, yeah, Australia's not that far from Korea. So we landed in the Malaysia airport, and I'm thinking, okay, cool, this will be a few hours. We'll be in Sydney, and we're sitting there, and the pilot gets on, and he goes, okay, so it's going to be about an 11-hour, 10-hour flight to Sydney. And I go, and I look around at the other passengers, expecting them to be shocked and disgusted, and nobody reacted. And that's when I realized, wow,
Yeah.
that's a long
We, it was pretty funny because it actually happened exactly like that. That was
Yeah.
your bimbo moment, but I had a bimbo moment when we got off the plane.
Yeah,
So Nick Vanzetti, who does the ESL stuff down there, used to do ASL and everything.
yeah.
Picked us up at the airport, and I had literally hanging off my backpack flip-flops.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I was like, "Why is it so cold?" He's like, "Because it's winter."
It's which, and the Earth
And
is round.
I was like, "Oh, but it's warm where I live." And I didn't bring any winter clothes.
Yeah, I remember that.
I had to buy a hoodie while I was down there because I was
and
so
it was
cold.
quite cold.
It was
quite cold in Sydney.
I had no idea. I figured it was always summer vacation there.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, we're a couple of bimbos.
Yeah,
we
we,
just talk about StarCraft.
yeah, we're much better talking about computer games. So, this time around, nothing seems to be out of the ordinary so far. We do have a tech lab being made, along with the starport. And Dark's going to go ahead and take his third base. Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Cool.
that's what's happening.
All right. Well, the most standard yet, I guess, is what we're seeing. See if he gets Cloak here.
Okay, so it's Viking first. We'll see if he does get the Banshee second. Reaper trying to come in is getting zoned out pretty effectively.
Yeah, this could be a little bit of a fake, too. He might just start Cloak or something now that the Overlord's getting up. Yeah.
Okay, so the Overlord sees that there is the upgrade going because of the animation, but we're going to see if he cancels for it. That's what, oh, nice. We're going to see if he actually cancels that.
Yeah, third command center on the way right now. I think he is going to cancel it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Liberator coming
He almost
up.
canceled it so fast I'm where the Overlord saw it. So, that's a fake. No, what this does is it forces the Zerg to respond to the fact that there could be Cloak Banshees even if there's not,
Yeah.
which can allow the Terran to get ahead. It might not seem like a lot, but at the highest level of play, it actually it's a pretty big factor. Particularly when you see that he's going to get a Liberator instead. So if you're concerned about Cloak, I mean, the Spores still help against the Liberator, but it doesn't directly counter it. So we'll just see when the time comes how Dark actually handles that. While the game goes on, Maru is getting stim and setting up with a double eBay to start powering up after he gets his third base.
Yeah, double evolution chamber lined up with that well also.
Yep.
And the Baneling nest on the way, so it's just as standard as can be.
Yeah, we don't. There's like really not a lot to say about this one, guys. They're playing like if you wanted to copy builds in a lot of ways, especially what Dark's doing, this is sort of the way to do it.
Yeah, Maru's is really good too. I mean, there's little tiny mind games going on like that cloak cancel and stuff,
Yeah.
but nothing too crazy.
Well, this makes a lot of sense when you consider the fact that it is Game 5, and it's so important to win this. They actually are going to play a very safe, conservative game. Note how good Dark is at allowing his queens to just eat a few Liberator shots, and he gets out and takes that out. So the first Liberator goes down, which is, even though he did get 4 drones, which is definitely worth it, it's not going to be continuing to harass. He's going to have to make more of those if he wants to have any impact in that regard. And now the third command center is going to land over here. And I don't feel that Dark is going to have any easy way to attack into that, so this should just be an easy, quick third.
Dark immediately attacks it with the Zerglings, showing Tasis to be wrong.
But then Maru with great play has a
Look at
dozen
that
brains
micro.
come down and kill it.
Look at that crazy micro killing that Ling. Wow.
So Dark responds by taking a 4th base in the upper right. It's worth noting that all the expansions that Dark has taken are hugging the right side of the map, where there are 2 other expansions that are close that he could take that wouldn't have been tucked quite away quite like that. But this also means it can be a little bit tricky here for Dark to try to defend the top from harass and the bottom main base from drops, which appears to be what Dark is going for right now.
So Maru gonna scout in here and see what he can do. Not too much. There are banelings morphing near the 3rd base of Maru, but there's a siege tank there also. And Maru's kind of paying attention because he's setting up a wall. So,
Oh, excuse us. Sorry, we were looking for the SCVs. Oh, my God. I don't even... Wow. Okay.
So the 2 siege tank
Well,
shots there, really a saving grace,
Hope
that's
they
for
have
sure.
health insurance over there.
Jeez.
Okay, this is actually too many Marines, and this
Wow.
defense was not executed correctly. Okay, that could not have gone better for Maru. And the
that
fact
was
that
awesome.
Dark did not actually kill any SCVs, he only damaged them. This is looking bad right now, at least for starts here for Dark.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that.
It looks like Maru's going to gear up and do a big attack up at the top here. He's got his tank, so he's ready with that splash damage, which seems to be the center point in the advantage for Maru when he does these pushes. Is hit with the tank's blast, take out the banelings, and kite with your Marines.
And if he can do that, he might be able to cancel this 4th, and that's one of the most important moments in the game. Let's see what he gets done. He has the Hellions in there also. Oh, Dark is on top of things, though.
Oh.
Runs right in. Oh, the siege
no, you know
tanks,
what?
though, actually eat a lot of the banelings.
Yeah, it sounds strange. It might sound counterintuitive, but you actually want the siege tank to be hit by some of the banelings. You just want the Marines to stay alive. Okay, so Dark decides to commit and just detonate on the tanks and take them all out. But this means that Maru's Marine army is going to go uncontested, and Dark is going to lose his 4th base, which is huge. As that's taken out, Maru starts his own command center in the center left.
Now, there are mutas about to pop out. If he can actually kill off all these medevacs and Marines, this won't be as bad as it could have been. Notice how he's trying to chase it down so hard. Maru trying to fly over high ground. He knew the Lings would go up there, so he's going to go to the low ground to drop off. Beautiful tactics here by Maru.
Yeah, Maru is just so good. Look at how he's targeting down these mutas.
Oh, it's awesome how he did this.
Wow, he actually got 3 or 4 Mutalisks there.
That was as efficient as Maru could ever have made it. That was really fantastic. And like just the juking and jiving there. You see like Dark is forced to chase the medevacs. The best thing he could have done actually was just split his Ling Bane into 2 pieces. So, but that's a hard thing to pull off.
You're totally right. It can't be emphasized enough how good that maneuvering was to avoid the Lings on the ground. Mutalisks usually in big fights need to be paired up with Zerglings. They can harass bases fine, but generally if there's enough Marines there, the Mutalisks have to leave. Small amounts like this are fine to take on. And these Mutalisks are going to buy a little bit of time here for Dark to sort of stabilize on the map. Dark is reclaiming that upper right base, and now he's taking one of the bases that's a little bit closer to the center. These are all the bases that are sort of default given to the Zerg early on. If he ends up on 6 bases, that's when it's going to be a little bit trickier for Zerg to try to expand out. But I think this is a smart play. Frankly, Dark is happy to have these Mutalisks get cornered up here if he can buy time to grow back on the map.
Now look at this trap Maru's set up here. The Viking to hit the mutas and then kite back into Thor range. Like this is a hard thing for Dark to micro here. This is going to be a huge waste of Mutalisks, perhaps.
Oh, actually, good save.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It didn't matter what you said at all.
No.
Sorry.
It's good in theory.
Yeah.
Practice, it didn't work.
In application, not so much. But
just like so many things in StarCraft.
so The Marines are still stuck up there. Maru seems to be comfortable still because he got this base in the center left. Does Zerg actually know that center left base was taken? I'm not actually clear if we've had
Oh,
vision
the center left, yeah, he did.
He did see
scout
that.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because that's quite important, especially now that it looks like Maru's going to take a 5th.
Yeah, it's kind of getting into that later game composition here. We still see barracks being added and a Ghost Academy on the way. A ton of command centers coming up and some Liberators. All the full hive tech coming up right now for Dark as well. The map is huge. The creep spread is gigantic here also. So it gets very hard to end the game on either side without your, every unit at your disposal.
So Terran can split map this a little bit more easily than some of the other maps. A lot of times maps end up into quadrants that the Terran is stuck in one and can't get out. In this case, it's a little bit easier to have just the left half of the map. And that might be the kind of game that Maru wants to play. One where that's super late game. I feel like Dark's reputation is a little bit better for the super supreme late game than Maru, but Maru may actually have some tricks up his sleeve. We saw Dark overcome Maru in a similar situation in the last game, so let's see how the teching goes from here on out.
Well, yeah, and I would generally tend to agree with you, but I think that Maru has really shored up his late game. Like, I actually think his late game is top 2 to 3 Terran in the world late game in this matchup right now. He's really fantastic at utilizing Ghosts and Ravens. He sets up good stuff, but he plays it a little bit different from TY. TY will do it almost completely positionally, but Maru's is almost a little bit more tempo-based. Like, he'll keep a little bit more bio, it seems, and, like, roam around a little bit more. But
Sure.
he can definitely fall back into quite positional play also. I mean, this late game's going to be great. He's making Ravens tasteless.
He is, man. He's starting to tech up. And that's usually a sign that Terran wants to start to turtle this out. Similar to when you see the Zerg go for the Infestors. Vipers is another good example where they have these abilities that you can take out your opponent's units without really sacrificing any of your own. Same thing with the Ravens. You want to be able to use their spells and abilities. Hold on a second. He's actually going to attack in here. I thought he was going to back up. So these Lings are going to spill in. I'm getting worried that this game may end up similar to the last game we saw. Look at the income here. Dark is at about 4K minerals. Well, that shoots down as he makes more. Dark was at almost 2K gas, but that's shot down. And it's shooting down because he's teching into Broodlords, Corruptors, Banelings. Where Maru's income is actually, it's fairly low. I shouldn't say his income's low. The minerals he's banked up and gas he's banked up is low. And I'm worried that maybe a push from Dark here will be pretty tough for Maru to take on.
The thing is, if Maru does take it on, it's going to be massively with spells. He's got a lot of Ghosts and Ravens popping out now. So that's where it's like, okay, yeah, the Zerg is sucking up more resources, but the cost efficiency is, with these two types of armies, is generally going to go towards the Terran player if they do it right.
Artosis, Maru's taking the bottom left. This guy is a beast.
yeah, okay.
He is continuing to expand out here. Oh, wow, even taking out these Overseers here. Really good engages.
It's all over the place with this. Yeah, none of this. This is like a death zone. You do not want to march in there right now. But yeah, this is really getting into that crazy late game right now. But
Okay.
Dark is approaching it a little bit of a different way here. We see him with the Broodlords. Definitely can be very efficient with this, but this is where those anti-armor missiles can come in and really ruin your day as well.
Scan comes down. And here we go! Lots of damage there. The Terran's going to try to run forward. The Broodlords are trying to kite back. He needs to get these Lings on the low ground here. The Corruptors are trying to fight off the Vikings. It's very important that the Broodlords stay alive, as they're going to allow the Zerg to sustain the damage and try to push through. And it seems like it's starting to work for Dark. Now, Maru has to hold this position here.
Loses quite a few of those Ghosts, actually, but he will get
there
some
are
snipes
Banelings
off.
that are not moving. Okay, he's moving them now. They need to connect on top of these Ghosts, but instead are connecting on top of the tanks. Now, notice this. Zerg's backing up. He's waiting for reinforcements. You want an army under the Broodlords. These units are not good on their own, and these Vikings are closing in pretty quickly.
Especially against Vikings, Broodlords are not good on their own.
If only they could fly higher than the Vikings and drop Broodlords on them.
I know. Shoot them with Broodlings.
Yeah. Okay, so there's nothing here. I think the Dark miscalculated. what he needed to produce next.
Yeah,
In fact, I think some of these Vikings might have been hidden. I'd have to rewatch the fight, but I felt like I didn't see this many Vikings.
I think they came out of a production round and then just immediately joined the battle. Whereas for some reason we didn't see a rally of Corruptors up.
Yeah, because
Not sure exactly why.
If he had gotten a handful of Corruptors and then stuck with the Lings Banelings, I think he would have pushed him back. But because there's no creep close to the Terran's base, it's hard to actually push any further here. And Maru basically is keeping the Zerg at bay. And this is a really complex economy game that we're seeing here where Terran is pretty confident overall he can win fights and be more effective with his supply and how much money he's spending, so that in the late game the Zerg will have used up more of the map. Now this is one way to do it down here.
Yeah.
And this is why it's really hard for Terran to get oh, hold on a second. Whoa.
Well, that looks weird.
Yeah.
Another planetary will end up going down. By the way, I really like this rotation of tech coming out of Dark. A lot of the times you see when it gets to this situation, the Zerg will just keep remaxing on their most expensive gas-heavy units, and we'll end up with a gigantic bank of minerals at the end, but no gas. Here we see Dark, and we've seen him do this multiple times over the past week. Mix in, like he'll have this high-tech, more gas-based army, then he'll remax with like Ling Bane or Ling Bane Hydra, and he tries to utilize that, and he's kind of balancing the way he's spending his economy. I don't want to say better than other Zergs, but in a different way where he's actually utilizing his minerals for actual effect instead of nothing.
Well, you know what's interesting about it is a lot of times when the Terran responds to the Broodlords, they end up with a Terran ends up with a slow, clunky army as well, like Vikings and Ravens. The Lings can go around that.
Yeah.
Terran's trying to edge out here. Corruptors beginning to chase back these Vikings.
Yeah, just a single, a few anti-armor drones, or missiles coming down, rather.
Auto turrets going down there. Now, Dark is actually taking the top center location. Another ambitious move. This is where it gets scary for Zerg because you're expanding so close to the Terran.
Well, those 4 bases in the middle are really kind of the bases that a lot of battles happen around. It's very hard to hold on to any of those because you get so close. Like, Maru can easily take the high ground above that base and then attack down into it, and that's going to be difficult to hold. Same can be said about that bottom one, but vice versa. But Dark, if he can hold those bases, that's exactly half the map. Half the resources are his.
Okay, so there's nothing to defend over here. So again, immediately 12 SCVs are killed off.
Yeah, and again, he's utilizing these Lings. He used Ling Bane before he cleared planetaries. When you clear planetaries, generally regular orbitals come and replace them, because Terran, and especially someone like Maru, is going to have those extra ones, right? He goes to Costco for his command centers.
Yeah.
And then the Lings can actually come in the second time, and without the planetary there, you don't need as many, and you get damage still.
Okay, so big picture here. Maru has 37 SCVs. Dark has 82 drones.
Wow.
So the macro engine for Dark is like crazy.
Look at this. He's not even lifting. Gets it red. I mean, here's the thing. Like, you see, again, I don't want to say that this is better, but like, for instance, with Rogue, a lot of the time you'll see at the end of the game he has 9k minerals and no gas. But the way that Dark has been doing this, he used extra gas for things that, you know, like those Banelings previously, but killing off those 2 planetaries has actually opened up a great place to utilize his minerals on Zerglings now for the rest of the game, it seems.
Well, also, setting Zerglings out there, they're literally the most expendable units.
Yeah.
So, okay. So
didn't expect ghosts instead of SCVs.
But yeah, they're so expendable that you're basically always going to trade favorably in those situations. And, you know, it is hard. When Terran has this many bases, you know, they don't have a creep highway that connects everything like Zerg does. It's hard for Terran to get everywhere and try to hold this off, especially consider just the sheer speed of Zerglings on ground. The fact that he is taking out little clumps of army, clumps of workers here and there.
Yeah.
The fact that as this game's gone on, Dark has began to mine from the top center. We don't know if Dark has actually, or if Maru has spotted that top center one. I would assume he knows, but we have to check here. He might just be pushing back the creep, and then suddenly, oh my God.
Well, he certainly knows now.
Yep, he's coming forward here.
And look, he might get it, but the drones are getting away. He can remake that later on.
Ooh, look at this. Immediately comes back. Mine.
Yep. Well, he's got to suck up those minerals and that gas. Like, this is the thing that happens. These middle bases, you try to take them a little bit later in the game when you have some of these slower comps and stuff, and
Okay.
it becomes so hard to hold.
This is really important. Zerg has to take out this bottom base. And there's actually another attack that we don't have on camera here, but it's at the very top center. If Zerg takes out this base, then there's no easy base to mine from anymore in this game, which means that Zerg might win in a long, drawn-out game simply because he has more resources. However, if Dark overextends several times and doesn't take this out, the game will seesaw into the Terran's favor.
A lot of ghosts kind of marching through the center of the map right now. Going towards that other expansion of Dark. Just a very small group of units up here. These Ultralists will be picked off very quickly. And
Wait,
nuke.
nuke.
Yeah, I don't think so. Might get
Is
some
that the nuke we
crawlers.
saw flying overhead?
Might have been.
Here we go. So he's evacuating the drones here, but of course that means he's not mining. We're at that phase of the game now where this is actually a viable strategy. Now hold up, big attack here from Dark coming in.
All right, these Corruptors going to try to clean up some of the
Yep.
Liberators.
We need to see how well these Ravens can do. The Ghost down here, it just seems like Terran might not, hold up.
Ooh.
Yeah, Terran just has too much on the ground here, and the air fight as well.
Wow, he actually throws down a whole bunch of turrets here to try to keep everything back. And with that anti-armor missile, it's going to do a great job keeping everything back. More Lings, Hydras, and Ultras on the way for Dark. Definitely playing a different brand of late-game Zerg here.
Yeah, he really is. Dark expanding again, getting further and further to the Terran. At this point in time, with this base being taken, as well as the very top one, there are almost no bases that Zerg are supposed to be able to get.
Yeah, if
They
he gets
could get him,
one
but
more base, it's huge.
It's against the theory of how we'd understand this map to operate.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to expand on your opponent's side. It's his side for a reason. It's close to his stuff.
It doesn't mean that it won't happen this game, but it's just, in theory, that's not the way this is supposed to work.
Oh, look at those ghosts on the low ground, just
Ooh.
waiting to snipe everything to death. But too many Banes, they have to get out of here.
Okay, cloaking. I don't believe we have an Overseer here. He might just want to detonate these Banes.
Oh my god, he actually hits a bunch of his own units with one of
Oh,
them.
how funny. Okay, Zerg's also attacking. There's a base down at the bottom. We don't have a shot of that, but that looks like it's going to be denied. I'm worried right now that Dark may be overextending here.
Oh, he's killing a lot of these. Well, not a lot, I guess, but those medevacs did get very low. He almost killed a lot.
It's just the number of ghosts that gets
Yeah.
scary. When you have ghosts in this high number, it's like super fast, super fragile siege tanks. I mean, when they get the snipes off, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
CC close to burning down if that's not saved. Dark has reamassed a pretty healthy army. It's right now Maru with excess gas, Dark with excess minerals, but we've seen what Dark can do with mass Zerglings before. I really wish we could have gotten a shot of the center expansion for Maru, because I don't know how many minerals are there, but I think it should be almost run out.
You're probably right about that. It hasn't really been harassed too much this game.
Okay.
Another hatchery goes down.
Okay, so a lot of these barracks are being taken out. Actually, more minerals than I expected over there.
Pulling back. Another nuke going off.
Oh my god, he might not know. Okay, he
knows.
does. Why do I ever doubt you, Dark? More Lings being masked up.
Maru has that command center over in that kind of center location here as well. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to be
Okay,
able to stay
so
on the
this
ground.
is picked up. Corruptors can take this out, so this should be a denied position here. Again, though, Maru continuing to soak up minerals from that bottom left base.
Yeah, Ling's still running around, finding damage
So
all over the place.
How many bases with minerals does Dark actually have? It looks like he has a little bit at the bottom base that's close to his main. He's got a lot over at the bottom center base. This base is going to be denied. In fact, this might be it, Artosis.
Oh god, this is a huge move that he's making right now. Lings and Banes running up. The Ghosts are huge in number though, and they start to get their snipes off. He is going to hold here.
Yeah, he's going to hold, but he's not mining from this base. He's lost that position. He's going to have to reclaim it. Dark is running back. He's already mining from his bases again. He's spending his minerals, so he's going to have an army. Is Maru actually going to counterattack all the way across to this base? It looks like it. Maru is saying that he has to even this out now. Again, the Ghost in a good position on the low ground. He's going to try to fish out some of the Zerg army and then abuse the Ghost shots here to clean up the rest. Dark has to pull back.
He's trying to use these armor missiles. Definitely doing a good job with those.
Now, he hasn't actually denied the base just yet. He's shaved off a few units, but Dark is continuing to soak up so many more resources on the map. Only just now has Maru transferred SCVs to the bottom left base, by the way.
And now he has taken yet another base, that high ground over above, near 12 o'clock basically. Maru doesn't have a lot over there, actually, so he might be able to get that up, too.
Okay, hitting this hatchery over here. Now, Lings and Banes are going to come in from the top. I'm not sure about this angle. It seems like Maru's going to be able to get his reinforcements together. This is so crazy, guys. By the way, Dark is expanding into Maru's bases now, at the very top.
Yeah.
So it's like Art of War here. He's just moving wherever his opponent is not. Okay, he's going to come in here. Now, again, the Ghosts are just in such a good position. I don't know if they're going to be taken out. Is this an overextension? The Ghosts are kiting.
Ooh, those Banelings being split up. That was a
Oh my
great
God.
split on the Ghost.
I think Maru might have done it again. He just has too much. Did Dark overextend?
Maru's just so
Okay,
good.
he's going to lose this base. 99% chance he's going to lose that base. This is almost mined out. The bottom left has a decent amount of minerals, but keep in mind, Dark has 3 more bases right now with minerals.
Oh,
So Maru hasn't answered the question yet. He's just prolonged the game. And he is wasting no time, by the way. Maru now headed northbound.
if he takes down this base, then he can easily take down the last significant mining base of Dark.
Oh, he's going to try to hit 2 locations at once, actually. But
Is
Dark
that-
comes down here, so that
know
army's
what?
going to turn around.
Yeah, that was actually, he just lured Dark into the wrong position. This area does not matter nearly as much, but Dark is going to go down and attack. Maru's last really healthy base is down here as well, so
But
I
you
think
know
Dark's
what?
going to be able to get that.
No, Dark's going to go counterattack all the way to the bottom left.
Yeah.
He's going to actually sack these bases up here, try to refocus his attention to the bottom, because at the end of the day, it's always about these bottom bases. Dark can always try to expand to that top base later on, right? He doesn't have to worry about it now.
That base is gone. And Dark was actually re-expanding, and Maru came right in and forced to cancel on it
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Jeez, this game is just madness.
Okay, that's not going to work. But
How do you see me? You didn't scan.
so
It's like the Raven's a detector.
Right
Really?
now-
I
right
thought
now-
it was just a
Artosis,
spellcaster.
look at the minerals for Maru. They're not going up very fast
No, they're not.
because he doesn't have any bases that
Look at the
have
gas.
adequate minerals.
It's not going up at all.
That's right. So Maru has to take what he has now and either get a base or end this game. Dark, who has very little, by the way, has to hang on, or Maru might win in a counter push, even though Maru has no real economy right now.
Maru is like
Yeah,
canceling
so-
bases left and right with 20 supply of bio.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's gone. That's too bad. There goes 7 of that supply.
If you notice, Maru's army supply is crazy. 96 to Dark's
wow.
62.
That is
So
true.
Dark has a lot of workers, but the workers might not really matter later on. So what Dark's doing is he's sending these small groups of Lings in here as far into Maru's base as he can to try to draw that army back. And there's another big counterattack. I love how he tries to get the command center. In
Yeah.
case it's not lifted, he'll kill that, and he can't lift it.
Well, a lot of Lings hitting this area as well. The Hydra's coming up for a flank. This could be a big moment with that flank, but if the Ghosts come down, they
Oh.
can definitely deal with this.
Gunning down some of those Liberators. This is not the cleanest attack we've ever seen here.
Yeah, he's got to get out of
So
here.
he actually killed 12 SCVs, so it's 19 SCVs to 72 drones. But Maru still has the bigger army.
And as long as he keeps keeping Maru busy, Dark can get his other bases up and mining, and then he can refill all these units that he's using to keep Maru busy, and then continue to keep Maru busy so that he can actually mine enough to get enough units to actually fight what Maru has, because what Maru has right now is definitely better than what Dark has.
This is one of the hardest kind of games to play. Honestly, it's one of the harder games to cast because there's so many various factors that are constantly coming up. Everything is shifting and changing. He's going to stim forward, come down here, take out both of these spines. Dark has to make a decision. Is it worth it? Does he want to just sack this base? He's on the run. He gives that up. He's going to back up. Again, Dark has reclaimed the top center. Oh, no, these drones need to turn around.
Ooh, tries
okay.
to split some of his Hydras, really microing down to every last unit at this point, but micro battle against Maru is
Now-
probably not one you're going to come out ahead in.
Maru's going to go north, but this may make an opening here at the bottom for Dark to counterattack into. And that's what Dark's looking to do right now. And I thought he was going to bring drones with his army here. Now, the Ravens can use spells to try to keep this at bay. Oh, dude, he's so good. Auto turrets down here. He just wants to buy time. He's going to try to zone out the bottom, which means Dark may have to sack every base, right?
Yeah, he's
He's
kinda losing a lot.
All of Dark's default bases, minus his bottom center one that keeps being knocked out, have been mined out from.
I can't believe that auto turrets are literally what's canceling this at this point.
Yeah.
These guys have so little of anything. Maru's at 15 gas right now, by the way. He can only make Marines.
Yeah.
Ooh. Really nice parasitic bombs.
If he loses the hatchery at the bottom, he doesn't have enough minerals to remake it, correct?
Well, 79 is not enough minerals, so yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
right.
call it a hunch. But if he,
Call it a hunch.
he's coming down now. so this is so important. Dark has to hold this. Maru is pushing forward. I don't see this army over here in time.
Yeah, that is definitely going to get canceled here. He needs to cancel too.
Oh,
God,
my
it gets
God,
killed.
it was killed.
Yeah.
And he's at 254 minerals.
Wait, though, if he can get the ghost, there's still hope.
Oh, he's surrounded these ghosts. I don't see him being picked up by these medevacs.
As you say, that picks up only 2 of them. Auto turret's going down to try to fight
I
off
think
the
Maru
rest of
just
this.
did it.
I think so.
That's it. GG.
Wow.
Maru takes game 5 in what was the most insane game in this best of 7 we've had. I cannot imagine how exhausted both players are after that.
This has already been a pretty long day, and
Yeah.
it's just getting longer, man. Right now, it is 3-2, so Maru has an opportunity to finish it up here on Darkness Sanctuary. Is that something he's going to be able to do? Darkness Sanctuary is a really gigantic map, and it's the least practiced, least played map that we have.
Yeah, it is a wild card as far as maps go. Dark, you could see reflecting on that game. I thought he played, even though Dark lost, I thought he played one of the most technical late games in CVT I've seen. On a map positionally, I think it was not favorable for a Zark to be in.
Yeah.
Maru wanted to drag the game out that long so we could get in a fight like that to close it, but Dark was honestly, with godlike positioning, continuing to expand into Terran territory. Maru, for a lot of the end of that game, had no active economy, but had enough of an army to keep stamping out expansions, and just barely he managed to stop Dark before Dark got out of control.
I just love that
and
game.
outgrew him. It was so cool.
There were so many cool aspects of that. I mean, these two hitting a new level as we watch it.
We're going to game 6. Maru 1 win away from going to the finals. Dark has to win this game and the next.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. Dark.
I can't quite read
Maru,
this sign.
prepare for dark revenge. It was like an angry ghost.
Yeah, so it looked like a repulsed ghost, or I don't know what it was.
He was definitely having a negative emotion. Wow, it just a packed studio
Right.
audience today.
One of the players has to pause the game. They're going to have to crowd surf up everybody to get to the restroom. So, hatchery right away here for Dark. Maru getting his barracks up.
It's an interesting thing here is this is a 4-player map.
Right.
So this is not a very good choice for something like a double proxy barracks, because I think if we were on a map where you could double proxy barracks and possibly make it work, I think that could have been the strategy we'd see out of Maru here to try to finish it, but gonna have to open at least somewhat normally. How do these guys play this, though? A giant 4-player map
Well,
like this?
that's a good question. I think Dark probably wants to go for a long game. The way that the last map is structured, it goes on.
Oh,
for a
isn't
long
that
time.
sweet? They're
The
sharing
guys are sharing.
earbuds.
Sharing is caring. And I don't think we actually, when it gets this full, we have enough earbuds.
No, we don't. We don't have enough
So-
headsets for everybody.
Sorry about that, guys.
So some of you get to have a good time, and the rest of you get to listen to
Yeah,
us.
some of you guys get to share. But to go back to what we were saying, I think the last map, because it's not as big, thanks for coming down.
From Romania.
Because the last map, it's a little bit tighter. Terran, like we saw, can cut it in half a little bit more easily, drag the game out, and eventually you get a Zerg in a position where it's like really awkward. They're actually trying to expand on top of the Terran, and that's easy for Terran, especially someone like Maru, to deny that. On this map is huge. This map is, if Zerg gets out of control on a map like this, I don't know if Terran can stop him, especially Dark.
Oh, man. If this went super duper late game, you can kind of cover more bases on a two-player large map, especially something like Ascension, right? Because you have the 4 bases that are all in a line on high ground, right? And then you have 2 bases right below them. Then you have the center 4 bases. So those are kind of that's the base layout when you think about it, right? From both sides. Here, each quadrant has 4 bases. And every base away from those 4 bases is like a million years away.
There's one way to look at it. On this map, you can, if you were to make a line right down the center, from top to bottom, and then from left to right, then the center, it's in quadrants. So Terran has a hard time getting out of that quadrant. It can happen, but it's just very difficult to try to sustain your presence when it's shaped like it is here. And this is something where Dark may force Maru to play by his terms. But there's ways for Terran to play around that by being really aggressive. By trying to do very specific timing pushes that just end the game. You don't have to play late game if you don't want to. You can try to do some really aggro attack and just close it out. So maybe he's going to do that.
Yeah, it could be. Cloak on the way right now. We'll see if that's a fake or not. There's an Overlord flying in, so I would imagine it's going to be a fake. Maybe a Liberator coming up with it. I've seen that a lot from him. Okay, Hellions trying to run in. Some well-placed Zerglings, actually. A lot of damage on those Hellions. Already one goes down. He does have to run away. Of course, we have the Roach Warren coming up, so see if Dark wants to get aggressive with this at all, or this might just be defensive. And he is going into Banshee play. You know what? This could be the mech map here for
Oh my god.
Maru. Yeah, that's cool.
Whoa. Okay, so we don't, well, this has actually become a little bit more trendy, but we don't have hidden expansions as much in StarCraft 2. But on a map this big, what's smart about this is that the odds of Dark really checking there are so minimal. So when you take a hidden base like this, all your mules, you want to land them at the hidden base.
Yeah.
And you're basically, you're a liar in the game, right? You are lying to your opponent about how much you have, and this is one of these things where it's like, you know, like the pilot checklist, like before a plane takes off, you have to tick off all these boxes so you don't crash the plane. Yeah. Well, in some ways, there's like a top-tier pro gamer, I don't want to lose to any bullshit, checklist that you have to make. And one of them is technically check the other mains, just in case they actually took a base there.
Yeah.
And this is something we got to watch for, because if this is spotted, it's going to be bad. But there's a huge attack coming here from Dark, and the fact that this attack is coming and that Maru spent a lot of his money on that command center means it might not matter.
Yeah, it's a possibility, but he meant Banshee, so this is like the best thing he could possibly have to try to help pull this off. We'll see how many Zerglings he actually ends up losing.
Okay, so
right
he's managed
now,
to
like
get inside.
This actually for Maru.
Yeah, so far so good here. He's actually spread them out pretty well.
Yeah, sick hold.
And he still has a hidden base.
Still losing a few more SCVs, but I mean the cost of this attack was really quite high.
So this is Terran. Now this might get denied here, but this is actually a Terran that's going to be on 4 bases against a Zerg that's on 3. But the Zerg thinks that it's 3 versus 3. So he's like, let me just push these roaches over here to my command center.
Yeah, that is going to make a big difference.
So, will we have this location checked for? I don't. Well, hold on. Let's follow the green line. Oop.
Oh, no. Took away that shift Q. Looks like he's just going to send them down to harass at what he thinks is the 3rd base, but is actually the 4th. It is going to be a mech composition here coming out of Maru. And, okay, so this is, I was going to talk about this a little bit before. He hasn't used mech yet, and I like his choice of mech here because of what I was talking about before, how everything's in quadrants. Speed Banshees is something that Maru does. Not everyone likes to use that with mech, but he is a big proponent of it. And Speed Banshees should be able to wreck other quadrants, where Zerg, because the Zerg flying army is so slow. And when you get a good chunk of Banshees, like, you're not going to be able to hold that with static D, really. When you can make 15 spores at each base, that doesn't make sense.
Well, also, you can defend, for instance, your hidden base. There's just so much you can do with it.
Yeah.
Especially on a big map. I think you're right. With the mobility and everything else, it's great.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big factor as well. But, again, that base in the bottom left is really paying off. He's getting the gases there even now.
Okay, now, there are a few subtle things that actually may telegraph that there was a hidden base taken, like the fact that Terrence seems to have so little.
Yeah, right?
Because
It seems weird how little he has.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's coming in here and still hitting this with Lings, sure, Terran went Banshees, but you're supposed to have a little bit more. Now, I don't know if Dark is going to detect that with the amount of adrenaline that's going on, the pressure, everything else.
I think the adrenaline pressure and stuff is definitely part of it. And then don't forget, he did a massive attack early on and killed some SCVs and killed some units with it. So at that point, the game is already so messy that you're not super used to how many units they should have.
That can definitely fudge the calculus of how you're viewing where you're supposed to be. Dark is going to expand again here. Now, just because this hidden base isn't spotted, guys, doesn't mean Dark's going to lose. It just means he's in a position he doesn't know that he's in.
Yeah.
So every choice he makes is sort of based off of the incorrect data.
Yeah. By the way, that Hyperflight rotor's on the way. So Banshee speed, this is going to be a big deal. Some Banshees flying over to the 5th base it's morphing right now from Dark. But that's so far away from everything. Like, are you going to attack, move your Hydras over there and save it? I think not.
And this shows the utility that the Banshees have from the early game on throughout.
This is going to be a serious pain for Dark throughout the entire game. Like, I think the Banshees are going to make just this world of difference. He's going to have to really try to figure out a way to deal with those correctly. Whether that's like Static D or maybe spreading out Corruptors or even Vipers or something.
Well, I think if anybody can weather this storm, it's going to be Dark. But it's versus a kind of a wonky unit comp that not a lot of Terrans tend to use.
Yeah, not too many Terrans are really into Speed Banshee that much. Like, we see them occasionally. I remember way back, Ryung was super into them with the mech when no one else was really meching. But, you know, again, you see him like Gumi, I'll use him occasionally. But Maru has really made them a staple of his mech play. I really enjoy his mech play because of that. He's a bit more mobile with the damage that he can output.
Okay. Banshees have been driven back. Dark steadily grows out. If Dark can keep the creep spread up, it's going to be so incredibly difficult for Terran to push across.
Yeah.
Even though it's a lot of work to spread the creep out that much, it's even more work for Terran to try to wipe it out and then push across.
Well, that's part of the reason why these Banshees, again, are doing well. They can kind of just fly over. They don't really care about the creep that much. They can clear some of it on the way as well. These Hydras trying to come up to help out.
You can see they're basically faster than Hydras that are on creep.
And they fly over anything, so it's like, well, it's pretty hard to catch them, that's for sure. Look at that, 4 spores being making right now.
Okay. As time passes, Maru continues to turtle up. He's not interested in necessarily pushing out on the ground with anything that's committed to ending the game in any way. You kind of stay back and power up. Now, one of the things that can be a little bit scary about this is that you're only harassing the Zerg, and Zerg left to their own devices, especially Dark in this case, they can get really, really big at kind of a crazy rate here.
It's funny, he abducts in a Banshee, just takes half health and still gets away pretty easily. I need to see some parasitic bombs coming out in the future.
Oh my God.
Dark's still not scouting that base.
Yeah,
oh,
he's
man.
actually setting this Overlord here to check on the status of this base right here. Now, we haven't gotten a shot of that bottom left base, but I have to imagine there's still mules landing there.
Yeah.
Basically, the way it works is that you keep landing mules there. The moment it's spotted, you just lift off and try to head it back home and expand somewhere closer.
And, you know, it would be funny if, like, once he's done there, he could float it to the expansion right next door. There's nothing there scouting it.
So Dark also is making a marker down here. He's dropping creep at that bottom base because he's looking for Terran to get out of the quadrant. Monar's already out of the quadrant, but he's trying to keep track of the overall economic tempo here, albeit already misled. Dark is also now taking the upper left quadrant of the map.
Ghost Academy coming up, as well as Fusion Core, some more barracks also. So everything on the way. You can even see Maru right now starting 1-1 for bio units. This is specifically for ghosts.
Yep.
We've only seen Maru in, what was it? Was it TY, I believe, was the other player that did this, where it was mech play against Zerg, and then eventually it was like, well, this game is going big, we're going to get 3-3 ghosts also.
Okay, Banshees are coming in now.
Look how quick they kill a hatch.
This is
so
kind of
crazy.
funny. So
By the
Queens
way-
are coming up. I don't know if he's going to get the transfuses off. He might. Oh, nope.
Banshee attack.
Wait, what is going on in this? Okay, he's going to move him now. They were just sitting there for a second. Oh, the Banshees get shot down. That's actually pretty big.
Yeah, it is.
Nicely done. Because the Banshees were the real nuisance
Yeah.
on the map.
Well, that's the only place he's really taking damage, isn't it? A bunch of parasitic bombs going off right here.
Some additional Banshees in the mix.
Chasing down everything that's trying to run away.
So Dark is actually behind in supply. He was more behind a few moments ago, but he's beginning to reproduce. This base is still slowly being mined away from. And I think this might be a game where throughout this entire game from start to finish, Dark never knows about it. Now,
I think you're definitely right about that. Like, maybe he'll find out way later because he's not about to die, right? So
Right.
eventually he'll have things everywhere and checking everywhere. But by the way, 13 Swarm Hosts coming up. Definitely something that was very popular against Mech at one point, but Gumiho kind of forced out of the meta. But Dark has been using to reasonable effect. This is really late to go Swarm Host, though, so I'm a bit interested about it.
well, let's see if Terran has the right unit composition to deal with it. Zerg's pushing down right now. Dark is trying to get into this location. Some tank shots. There's no way that he's going to actually break this location.
Yeah.
You know, and really, Dark has to be careful because Banshees don't run away that quickly off of creep.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Shouldn't have fought there.
Yeah. Now the Swarm Hosts are coming in here from the north, and this is a kind of a cool little position that Dark could try to chisel away at because it's pretty close to his own bases. So he's basically in his own home turf, hitting him on Maru's side of the map.
Yeah, it's quite true. Like, he can just bombard that all day and then eventually move it over to the left side of the map because, you know, hopefully for Maru's sake, he gets that left side of the map taken and then you can bombard that as well. And over time, you're definitely going to gain a lot of value off of these. He has 13 right now, adding a couple more. So I believe his total will be 15 if I'm adding 13 and 2 together correctly.
Greater Spire coming up. And Maru is actually now really beginning to cement his position in that bottom left quadrant. Now Zerg should be poking in there eventually. And it's still going to be up to whether or not these bottom left bases can be taken. Again, it's much harder for Terran to actively split a map in half like this. Zerg have way easier access with their army down there. Uh-oh.
The whole crowd's going,
Oh! So now he knows. He sees the size of the mineral patches.
It's like, oh,
And Dark-
man.
Dark's heart is full of regret.
And he can't even kill it either. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
yeah, he can. Never mind. He has Hydras coming in. All right, so that will finally fall, but you know what? It way more than paid for itself.
Yeah, no, I mean, it already worked. It already worked pretty effectively. Now, with that occurring, at least in this moment, Dark now has a much better idea of where he is in this game and what
Yeah.
he needs to do. So Dark has taken every base in the top. Whoa!
Oh, my God.
Oh my God!
You don't kill a hidden expansion, get away with it, Dark.
Yeah,
There will be
that was
repercussions.
crazy.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous
He's
amount.
remaking 16.
Well, that's how you do it, Tastes. They kill 15, you make 16.
You know what's funny about that is just to think about the emotional roller coaster that Dark's been on right now in the last minute. Finding that hidden base and realizing he had misjudged where he was,
Yeah.
then losing his Swarm Hosts.
Jeez.
Ghosts are starting to push forward here.
Dark has a lot of bases, though, right now. This game is absolutely not decided one way or the other. If he can deny those bases on the left-hand side, which it seems to me to be easier for Zerg to do that in a way. Again, I think the Speed Banshees are helpful, but things like this, the Swarm Host coming back out, obviously he needs to be a bit more mindful of them, but keep bombarding this base and then go over and start bombarding the left. And if you can just kind of hit Maru all over the place, his slow, clunky army can't be everywhere at once.
All right, muffin time.
Hell, muffins.
Yeah, coming through. Ling's actually with a good surround here on these Hellions, not actually able to do that much damage. And really, the Swarm Hosts here are just a consistent nuisance for Maru. He's going to have to constantly devote resources or give up that position. There's still minerals there, but a lot of the money he spends there is just going to go back into trying to keep that expansion alive. It seems like Dark's had a hard time actually getting the damage he needs to do in the bottom left. Also, the creep has not really been spread to the bottom left.
Yeah, that is true. Oh
my God. He almost broke
How
to the
low
ground.
did that get?
Oh, I want to say that was like 20 HP.
Jeez. Goes down
It's
fast,
actually
too.
pretty important, too, against a Swarm Host. If he loses that, he could actually lose that position. Again, the Swarm Hosts come up.
Oh, I like that. The Spores plus Queens there to
Oh,
help
is he
him
going to get
out.
it now?
Yeah.
Goodbye. And this is just free damage. Now, meanwhile, a huge attack here. Oh, man! Big connects there.
Okay, he gets a lot of mules,
I feel like
but those were mules.
I feel
That
like
is mana. Whoa, that was awesome. Now that's what I want to see here in this late game against these flying units. Parasitic Bomb, man, it sticks to him.
he's burrowed some Banelings over here. So really, Dark constantly hitting at the far right with free units while trying to push down here into the bottom left. Do you feel like he's supposed to Nidus the bottom left or something like that?
Oh,
Something where
absolutely.
I feel like these long rundowns off of creep are just it's totally manageable.
Well, I will definitely say I do think that in a map this big, if you are not utilizing things like Swarm Hosts and Nidus Worms,
Yeah,
as theory crafty as that sounds, as much as that sounds like it's on a forum.
it's on the BattleNet forums.
Yeah, you should. It's so big, you can't get over there in time. Like, if you make their army get drawn to one area, and then you Nidus a different area because you have like an Overlord or a Zergling over there,
Yeah.
the speed with which you can move your units around is just vastly higher than what your opponent can. Sometimes they won't notice, but even if they do, they probably won't have enough units there to fully stop the damage you're going to deal.
So this is becoming a little bit scary now for Dark. The bottom left seems to be secured by the Terran. If Dark cannot take that out, this game is no longer a matter of does Maru push Dark. It's actually right now, can Dark push Maru? That,
No, that Ghost took up 2 slots in a bunker, actually.
how about that?
Yeah.
I think that if Dark can't do this stuff for real, it's going to end. Look at all the bases. There's actually one base that's not been taken, and that should clearly go to Maru.
Yeah.
Dark is going to run out of resources before Maru does because he expanded ahead because he's Zerg. Maru sits on the bottom left for long enough. Dark runs out of money. Dark has to attack in. Maru, using Ravens and Ghosts, wins the fight and wins with the counter push. So really, a game burden on Dark. And Dark, you cannot let the Terran take this bottom left spot.
Yeah. It's so true. Like, you need to deny at least one base here. Maru is so efficient with these units. I do want to see some Swarmos. I want to see him jumping around left to right, killing anything. Anything with these Swarm Hosts is worthwhile. Units, turrets, just hit your volleys of the Locust, you know?
Okay, here we go. Corruptors coming in now. Very nice spreading here with the Corruptors. Vipers coming up as well.
Yeah, the Vipers desperately want to get down these parasitic bombs.
Oh my God,
and
there's
get
too
them
many
down, they
ghosts.
do.
Too many ghosts there on the low ground.
You're definitely right about that. He did get some parasitic bombs down, though. And those parasitic bombs are definitely gaining a lot of value also. Especially with that splash. There's 89 drones. Ling Hydra. This is exactly what we see Dark going for right now. That means he is going to just attack fully into some area. There you go, the Nidus finally. We'll see where he pops that up. Another great move here with the Swarm Host, too.
The pressure's really on. Keep in mind, though, Dark has a lot of minerals and a lot of gas banked. So he can attack in, remax attack in, remax attack in, kind of like we saw on Abyssal Reef.
Yeah.
But there's only so much time. I mean, the sand is running out of the hourglass here for Dark. He has to come up with something. All Maru has to do is sit back and hold off the attack, and the game is done.
But with the Niduses, this is going to be very difficult. Where do you actually center your units as Maru? Because a lot of them have to be siege. A lot of them are very positionally based.
It's possible that it's more wise to attack the main like this.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing here and all the production structures are here.
I love it. Oh. Taking down some of these depots while he's at it. The siege tank is kind of slowing this down a bit. Even bringing the Swarm Host way far up, and it's time to turn around. But now here's the army over here. Go Nidus the left side. I want to see it.
Yeah, it would seem like it would be wise to try to get to position their army over here and then just Nidus wherever they're not. And I gotta say, I am stunned that those Corruptors flew into that location.
Yeah, maybe he didn't realize that they were.
Oh my God!
Bunch of invisible units there.
So Dark is, again, retreating. I'm sorry, is this Nidus Worm anywhere?
No, he hasn't made it yet.
Okay.
It's like, I think he realizes he needs it, but you need to get the vision to do it correctly as well.
So is he going to send this drone over here to try to get vision?
Well, I think that's probably the dumbest unit to send. It's
I
not
think
particularly fast or tanky. Doesn't fly. I would say no, not the drone.
Well, we saw it going down there.
There we go.
Here we go. And, oh my God, he didn't start it in time.
Looks like he's just multitasking like really super fast right now. He's like sending that down. Okay, I'll go over here. I'll try to get back there and pop the Nidus. That top left base, though, is actually, or the bottom left, sorry,
By the way,
is the most mined out of all those bases.
By the way, oh
my
man,
God.
Dark on the run again. The fact that he sent the Overseer down there and lost that should telegraph that that was a Nidus play.
Yes. If
Which
Maru
means-
saw that, which who knows.
He might not have, you're right.
The upgrades are really getting high now. 3-2 on Flyers for Dark is going to be finishing up, starting that +3 as well. So Dark's got 8 bases, Maru's got 8 bases. Dark needs to kill a base, I feel like.
He has to. Because Maru should be mining out. It should be inbound in this game. And the fact that Maru has made enough production structures at the bottom left, look at this. He's walling himself off.
He's going mass nukes.
Yeah. But also just containing himself. He knows the game he's playing right now. It's a game of patience for him. Okay.
Oh, just little scuffles. These aren't that meaningful.
Well, anytime he kills an Ultralisk or a Baneling, it's that much less gas that's invested into a later part of the game.
It's very true. A lot of these games have gotten down to both sides not having any money left as well. Dark's bank is bigger still, but okay, every time he sends out the Swarm Host, I get a little Zerg smile, and then when he's doing things with his other units, like what we just saw, I get a little Zerg frown. It's like you can just
Like the
kind of
Corruptors?
see where the value is coming in, and sorry I keep saying that word, but this is what this game is about right now. Everyone's basically got everything that they want, and it's just about trying to use everything as efficiently as you possibly can because you run out of money in Legacy of the Void.
You know, and the Swarm Host may be the MVPs here because if he could keep trading in and not losing the Swarm Host, well then eventually, you know, that the Terran just is losing way too much for free. But I do feel like, you know, every time we see plays like this one coming up here, oh man.
Oh boy.
Wow. So most of the Swarm Hosts are going to be okay, sent out now.
More Swarm Hosts being made. I think Dark, I guess, agrees with what's going on here, the value of these units. Trying to whittle away over time. He's going to be up to 20 Swarm Hosts shortly. Still haven't seen that Nidus Swarm actually deployed.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Even if it's just Zerglings, he has 10k mineral, right?
I do want to point out as well, the fact that Dark must be exhausted. Same with Maru. These have been intense, long games. Okay, here we go. Slowly driving these ghosts back. Any ghost he can get is huge.
Jeez, ghosts are quick. It's like ghosts are always on creep, man.
Yeah.
That's how quick they run.
But we know their deaths are very painful based off that sound effect. Okay, another great play here. As long as these Ravens can get away. Good harpooning. All those Ravens in the red, by the way. The ghosts come up again, but immediately turn around when they see the Locust coming out. Oh, wow, no vision there.
Oof. A lot of red units. A lot of 30-minute games in this series, I have to say.
Okay, nuke coming down. Now this nuke is where the Swarmos are, so Dark is going to have to back up. Now, let's look at the minerals mine. I'm squinting at the mini-map here. I believe there's only 2 bases that Maru has left, with a reasonable amount of minerals. Okay, hold up. Maru's really pushing up. Again, Dark with 10k and 4k minerals to gas, respectively.
What's that Hellbat doing? He's gonna get nuked, man. He's got nuke his own Hellbat. Oh my God!
He's crazy.
You forgot to cancel the nuke and hit his Hellbat.
He's starting to drive him back here. He did take out the hatchery in that spot. Now, as far as dark spaces go, it's a little bit hard to tell just looking at the mini-map, but I believe he basically has like 1.5 bases left.
Oh my God. Time for Yamato Cannon.
It's cool.
Yamato Cannon Artosis.
Okay, Maru's trying to push out. He wants to try to trade off some of these units here.
Nice surround with the Lings. Some Banlings connecting as well, but it's not like he's not really killing that much. And the fact that he's the one that lost a base, that's not really what I expected to see in this game. With this type
same.
of army from Maru, the damage versus structure output of this army is just so low. It's kind of funny that he's the one that's killing bases at this point. Okay, there are some infestors up here, so that's really important.
Right.
Battle cruisers on the way. Not operational, but on the way.
Okay, coming up. Some of these corruptors doing a decent amount of damage again as the missiles fire down here. It's kind of interesting that Maru chose to take this game in this direction. I didn't think he really had to push, but it seems like he wants to try to end this now. A lot of auto turrets going down. Zerg trying to zone himself away.
Ooh, flying through some of the splash damage. Those Ravens are deep in the red. If only he can get a bit more damage there, that would be a big pickup to kill that many Ravens.
Okay, Baneling's about to be gunned down before they can actually come out.
God, he's just pushing into the heart of dark right now.
This is a very odd way to try to end this here from Maru. It looked like he was just going to outlast the Zerg. Now, the only thing that Dark still has is this massive bankroll.
Yeah.
He's saved up a decent amount of money. He spent about half of that. We have battle cruisers actually teleporting over to this location.
Well, it's already mined out except for the gas. So.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most useful spot, but definitely useful here.
Okay, I think Maru is going to win this game unless Dark comes up with something very quickly.
Yeah.
And right now, I think Dark adding together all the various fights they've had, how long they've had these expansions, the fact that there was that hidden base taken earlier on.
Yeah,
and I think Dark is almost out of options. He's now even in minerals and behind in gas compared to Maru, and Maru basically is closing out all these spots on the map.
I saw his Vipers fly in again. If he has new parasitic bomb energy, maybe he can clean up the Ravens and then utilize this Lingbane Ultra army that he made. This will kill the ground army.
Okay, here we go.
He needs to get rid of the flying units
He's
here.
coming in. A lot of these Ravens in the red right now.
Yeah, I think he's going to take out quite a bit of those.
Coming forward, a lot more Lings on the way here.
Jeez, even the BC's adding damage.
Did Maru overextend here? Too many Corruptors. Okay, hold up. He's taking this out.
Oh my God, both their banks really plummeting right now. Maru has a ton of gas, but really not that many minerals. He's actually making more battle cruisers as well, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I did not expect that.
Well, the tactical jump you can always get out.
Okay.
Oh, and even he had it recharged just in time to save that one. That is a long, long cooldown on that spell.
So, Maru now transferring whatever remaining SCVs he has. Did he overextend? Great catch here, by the way. Let's try to take those out. Granted, there are not a ton of mineral patches left to mine from, but Dark has to approach this very carefully. He's not mining just yet. I think his base actually just finished as I was ending that sentence. So he's now taking that expansion. He has a finite number of units. The army supply overall seems to be slightly lower than what Maru has, although he does have mobility on his side.
Oh, just jumped his BCs in. Okay, his Yamamoto's right there on top of some Corruptors. Will end up losing one of the BCs, but should be able to clean up the rest of these Corruptors.
And I think now that the Corruptors are all taken out, the air army reigns supreme, right? We see that Dark's just remaking one more Corruptor.
I don't think one Corruptor will deal with all that.
No, I don't think so. And this may be checkmate by air control. Few Lings coming out, but yeah, it seems like Terran's mining enough that the flow of units coming in and out is just adequate. And he gets kind of able to deny anything else that's coming out here. Hemorrhaging Ultralisks like this in the main is not going to allow Dark to get a win here.
No, he just doesn't really have much left.
I think all that Maru has to do is push out one more time, wipe out that center left base, and not lose to a counterattack, which I think realistically a counterattack that Zerg would succeed with is close to 0% chance of happening, at least successfully.
Yeah, he cannot kill everything that Maru has. It's just impossible. Like, All he can do is run around right now. I would say you can see it in his face, but you can't. Looks
Oh
like
my
he's still
God.
concentrating.
Insult to injury.
Oh.
He's going to close it out with a mass nuke at this base. Dark trying to send his army out.
Please go back to the nukes.
Please see me see the nukes.
Okay, we didn't watch the nukes.
Okay, I don't
know
know why we didn't get the nukes on camera, but whatever. The
Killing those
hatchery
three
goes down.
Raptors is more important.
GG. Dark taps out, and Maru moves on to the GSL Codes Finals.
Wow.
Facing off against Stats.
For the first time. That's crazy. This guy always gets knocked down in the round of 4 more than anyone else ever in Codes history. And finally he makes it to the finals, something really he's deserved for years as one of the top Terrans, one of the 4 horsemen. He is just playing out of his mind lately. This is
Obviously,
crazy.
a very difficult moment here for Dark, but what else can you say other than Maru is playing a better game that it's just there's nothing that Dark can do.
Yeah, this is great play. So impressed.
Okay, so we are going to go to an interview with Maru and see what his thoughts are now that he's in his first GSL Codes Finals. Wait for it.
Come on.
I wouldn't lie to you guys.
Maru, get over there.
Just waiting for him to get ready. And then we will let you guys know what they're saying.
네, 첫 번째 4강이었던 조성주 선수 2010년 데뷔
So this was Maru's
만에
fifth semifinals.
첫 GSL 결승에 올라갑니다. 자, 조성주 선수 바로
He made his very
만나보겠습니다.
first pro gamer
축하드립니다.
matches here in the GSL, and now he's in the finals. Congratulations. Thank you.
네, 정말 축하드립니다. 먼저 첫 GSL 결승 소감 어떠신가요?
First of all,
일단 너무
I want to hear how you're feeling now that you're in the
어떤
finals.
말을 해야 될지 모르겠는데.
Well, I'm really overwhelmed right now.
형한테 너무
I honestly don't know what to say, actually.
이병렬 선수가
But I just
지금
wanna
이
say
순간
thank you to
가장
Rogue.
생각이 나세요?
네, 너무 열심히 도와줘가지고.
So Rogue is the first person
많은 걸
that was helping you out.
네, 지금 눈물도
Yeah, he helped me out a lot.
아, 너무 감격스러워서.
네.
I think I need to buy him something
확실한
nice.
징크스를 깼습니다, 여러분.
You seem almost tearing up.
좌절했을
Yeah, I'm
때도
just overwhelmed
생각이
with
나실 것
emotions.
같은데 결승 쉽게 많이 놓쳤었잖아요.
네.
그때 어떠셨나요?
그때 제가 지고 나면 다른 선수가 인터뷰.
You could probably think about all the hard times you had in the past trying to get this far. Yes.
근데 이렇게
Whenever I was living in the semifinals, I would watch my opponents have that winner view. And it would make me very sad.
외치신 모습 짠합니다.
So now I'm in that position.
기쁨이 느껴지셨어요. 이병규 선수의 도움을 많이 받았다. 7세트 마지막 7흑 성소 이 경기까지 이병규 선수의 흔적이
So
있었던
the last
겁니까?
map is on Darkness Sanctuary.
제가 다 짰는데.
Tell us
네.
about that game.
이 문제점을 다 체크해줘가지고
네.
좀 잘 풀린 것 같아요.
The build
마지막 세트
was something I had honed,
멀티부터
but Rogue was
전투
helping me work it out
수량까지
so that I could be
정말
successful in late
좋았습니다.
game.
마지막 세트 느낌이 어떠세요? 잘 하신 것 같으세요?
So there were so many things to watch throughout the series. It was really entertaining.
상대 올인을
We even saw
막아가지고
battlecruisers.
되게 마음에 편하게 해가지고.
How would you
잘
evaluate your
풀린 것 같아요.
performance?
원래 애초에
I hope he says
반대쪽을
40%.
그려왔는데
네.
몰래 멀티도 안 들키고.
Overall-
올인도 막아가지고 잘 풀린 것 같아요.
네. 그 앞서 4, 5세트
I knew we were going to be splitting the map half and half. And there's going to be some powering up and battling.
결과도 달랐죠. 4세트는 박용우 선수가 이 조성주식의 밤까마귀 후반 운영에 대한 준비와 또 대응이 완벽했다면 그 다음 경기는 유령과 밤까마귀의 힘 정말 강력했습니다. 그 세트들 후반 경기하신 건 어떤
We've been showing various
느낌을
builds.
받으셨는지 궁금하네요.
제가 후반 가면은
We could see a lot of very Maru-like play.
For
For instance, the Raven-based play.
잘 못하겠더라고요.
Tell us about that.
잘안
So
풀렸는데.
whenever I have a broadcasted match, I actually get very nervous. A lot of times I can't pull out the performance that I want to show,
그렇군요.
or at least
또
not what I did in
있죠.
practice.
수료선은
So I'm relieved that I was able to deliver
정말
today
잘
in
쓰시는 것
advance.
같아요. 또 조성주 선수만 쓰거든요.
네.
다른 테란들은 안 쓰는데 조성주 선수만 쓴다.
So we could
이거
see double medevac drops a
나만
lot
할
from
수
you back
있다.
there.
이런 의미이기도
It seems like
할까요?
that's your signature play.
일단 SCB 정찰을 해서
네.
선사맷을 못하게 하면 괜찮은 빌드 같은데
네,
어비셜에서 너무 허무하게 져가지고
Yeah, I use a lot of
그게 좀
SCVs to try to scout.
좀 아쉽다 이런 말씀 해주셨습니다. 오늘 사실 상대 준비는 정말 좋았던 것 같아요.
I didn't catch the last part, guys. Sorry. We're going to go to the next question.
정말 날카롭게 예측하셔서
So we saw that Dark also prepared very well.
선수의 후반 운영에 대한 그런 분석도 완벽했거든요.
He even held your proxy
오늘
barracks.
박명우 선수를 총평으로 한다면
되게 잘하시는데.
네.
What would you say your take on Dark as a Zerg player? He says he's an excellent Zerg player, but personally I think Rogue's a better Zerg than Dark.
아 정말 최고의 연습
ouch.
상대가 있었기 때문에 또 오늘 이런
Savage.
좋은 결과가 있게 된 것 같습니다. 자 이제 드디어 첫 결승입니다. GSL에서 밟은 결승전. 상대가
That's why I suppose the key to you winning was
마음에 드시나요?
you having one of the best Zergs in the world to prepare. Now you're facing stats in the finals. How do you feel about it?
좀 아쉽고요.
네.
그래도 첫 결승.
I was actually hoping to face Sue,
열심히 준비해서 이겨야
but since it's my very first GSL finals,
우승은 따놓은
I'm going to train really
당상이었는데
hard.
좀 아쉽다. 이런 뜻입니까?
제가 저그 전에 자신이 있어가지고 요새
네.
형이.
Curious, saying, are you unsatisfied since you're not getting not getting Sue? You're having
지금까지
stats.
실컷 저희가 감상을 했으니까
And he said,
앞으로는
well, I just had a lot more
이제
confidence against Zerg. That's all.
결승전 저희가 기대를 하고 있으면 될 것 같습니다. 자 마지막으로 팬들에게 결승전 각오 전해주시죠.
진짜 오랜만에 결승.
So, what are your thoughts going into the finals?
이렇게 국내 결승
I want to tell everybody it's been a while.
진짜 열심히 해서 우승하도록
Uh,
하겠습니다.
네 알겠습니다.
be on the final
자,
stage.
그럼
I'm gonna pour
결승전으로
everything,
뵙겠습니다. 다시 한번 축하드립니다.
into this GSL finals. So please keep supporting me and cheering for me.
네, 이렇게
Congratulations once more. He says thank you.
두 번째 결승 진출자 조성주 선수까지
Cool.
만나봤습니다.
Well,
저는
I
다음
tell you, this
토요일
round of four might have been
결승전에서 뵙겠습니다.
the best round of 4 games that we have
I
had
think
in
so.
recent memory.
I mean, the fact that on both sides it was so close. I guess the only thing I could say that could have made it better is if we went to yet another game, but really a nail-biting final match like that was so cool.
Well,
Both these guys coming out with very different play styles as well.
yeah, and they definitely did mix it up some. You can see they continue to improve, continue to be creative, and get some new cool stuff going on. I don't know. I just love the play of both these guys, and I want to see them play again. I think we should kick stats out of the finals and just make it Dark Maru.
You know, it was really cool to see how much Maru's brushed up on his late game, like supreme late game.
Yeah.
He seems to know exactly what he's doing. And when you consider that he's against a player like Dark, that's kind of wild. But I guess that's what happens when you have Rogue as a teammate.
It's very true. Yeah, Rogue is the best supreme late game Zerg in the game, probably across all matchups, to be perfectly honest. And to have him as a practice partner, there's no question that is helping Maru to really refine this, because he was always pretty good at late game, but I always thought TY and Innovation were better at the late game scenarios, and he was more of a mid game guy, but I don't really feel that way anymore.
Yeah, I have to agree. I always thought of him as a kind of mid-game guy, but not anymore. I mean, he's gone to the next evolution. And, you know, this is what happens. Like we were saying, when you got Rogue as a teammate, then you know how to draw the game out and what to do against a Zerg like that. And so this is our finals. Oh, my God, it's going to be so good. Stats, our Protoss against Maru, our Terran. The two Zergs that made it to the Final Four are out.
Yes. So at TVP Finals, Maru, will he continue this dominating run, or will Stats pick up where he left off last year and just dominate the Korean scene? Hard to say.
Yeah, we'll find out. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this. A lot of people very excited to see Maru, who debuted in the GSL a long time ago, has now become an incredible Terran.
Yeah.
He may be the best Terran that we have in the world. Stats is someone who over the last 2 years has had a lot of success and been a very scary Protoss player. He's here to reassert his dominance at the start of 2018.
Well, I think that we could keep these graphics up forever. They're just so handsome players in
That's
these
right.
leather jackets, in their leather brackets, going to the finals. Yeah, man, I mean, this has been a great day of StarCraft once again.
Yeah?
And GSL's been great. We're going to have Super Tournament coming up. Here you see there's some events going on. I guess at the finals,
Yeah,
you can
we're gonna
win
have
all sorts of cool stuff. Look at that.
A lot of giveaways.
You win that probe, it's really loud, and that backpack is pretty cool.
You can put the probe inside the backpack if you want them both.
Yeah, that would be pretty lucky.
So do come down to that.
And you can start getting your tickets at 12.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so finals start at 5. You cannot even get into the studio till 3:30, but you're going to need a ticket. And the tickets, again, start at 12. There'll probably be even a lineup for the tickets. Because I know a lot of people ask, like, how do I get a ticket? They're free, but if you're not here early enough and tickets run out, sorry, dude.
And it will fill up, by the way. So, oh, hold on.
And we're going to have
We're gonna have a
secondary room,
location. Yeah.
for people to watch in. So,
But that
if
may
the
fill up
studio's
as well.
full- Yeah, no, it's
So,
happened before that we filled up both those.
Here's
and
what we're
another
trying
place.
to tell you. Get down here early, get your ticket, so that you can get in and watch
Yes.
and have a good seat. If you snooze, you lose.
Super Tournament. It starts on April 5th. It lasts until April 8th. Stats and Maru get seeds. We're going to have the qualifiers for them on Monday. That should be really fun. 16 players, best of 5s from the round of 16, and of course the finals, a best of 7.
It's one of my favorite
it's-
tournaments to do all year.
It's awesome.
We have a lot of fun. It's cool because a lot of people fly out and then they come every day for the tournament from day 1 to day 4,
Yeah.
and we kind of marathon through it. It's very different from a lot of the tournaments we do out here in Korea. Many of our tournaments take months to complete, and this one is a marathon. We'll find out that week who the best in the world is.
Indeed. So the StarCraft is not even slowing down. In fact,
No.
some might say it's picking up speed.
Yes. Just been a great day, man. I'm so glad we could actually match the semifinals that we had with Stats versus Sue. This was such a special series, and I think you're correct that we've never actually had a semifinals this good on both sides.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And I mean, this was great StarCraft today. I'm sure that you're like, wow, I just wish I had more StarCraft. Well, don't worry. Tomorrow we have ASL.
Yep, we're going to be back in the evening at 7 p.m. KST, so do join us for that. We're still early on in the ASL.
Yeah.
We've got a whole bunch of new maps we've never really seen anything like before. We're using some island maps. Those are island maps were discarded in Brood War like the first 4 or 5 years that professional play was happening. So to have those back is showing us some really cool games. And I don't know. It's been a blast doing ASL, our sister tournament to the GSL.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fun never stops.
That's right.
A couple ASL days this week, and then finals coming up. I mean, 20 years of StarCraft. Here's 20 more Tasteless.
That's right.
It's been awesome.
It's been a blast.
Yeah.
May StarCraft never go away.
Indeed.
And
just don't forget about the finals, guys. Make sure you tune in.
do come in early.
Yeah, if you're
Do
here.
get down here early if you can be here.
And if you can't be here, well, that's too bad. I guess you might
We're not
live
here
in
to
Korea.
judge you.
Although-
Not everybody can be here.
Yeah.
But at least that way you can watch online no matter what. But if you're going to be here, because this happens every year. There are people that fly out here and to their shock and dismay do not get in the studio.
Yeah. It's sad. It's a sad thing.
It's weird. It's awkward. I'm sorry. Sometimes they're tweeting to us and I'm like,
I'm literally
I
casting.
can't. I'm literally
Can't do
casting, and
this.
even if I wasn't casting, I can't get you in. So be here early. That's all the time we have. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you are. We love you, and we will see you at the GSL Codex Finals.
GSL Season 1 Code S. Debut.